Chapter 22-25. What do you mean? He entered a separate space? Watching Yi Chen enter the independent space, the powerhouses all revealed looks of disbelief. This was clearly arranged by the barrier. Yi Chen had released too many third-stage imprints and obtained the barrier's recognition. This was a special reward. This was the truth behind the scenes that any expert could see. Although they could still see Yi Chen's position after entering the independent space, he was still isolated from them. They could not interact with him. This bastard! The combatants in the other space were furious. They had thought that Yi Chen would not be able to enter the rank 4 Buddhapon territory, but now, not only did he enter the rank 4 Buddhapon territory, but it was also an independent territory assigned by the barrier. Yi Chen could freely comprehend the rank 4 Heavenly Tao mark in this territory. Upon entering this domain, Yi Chen immediately sensed that this place was completely different from other spaces. The heavenly way contained within was extremely distinct. He could even sense that the imprints were within this Buddha pond. Wave at him. Yi Chen walked toward a Buddha pond. As soon as he entered it, boundless Buddhist power surged toward him. Yi Chen felt like he was being baptized. After the baptism, Yi Chen felt relaxed all over his body. He seemed to be ready for a high-intensity challenge. What kind of different feeling will a rank 4 Heavenly Tao mark give me? Yi Chen was very curious. He made a grabbing motion with his palm and suddenly, many jade stones in the Buddha pond floated in the air. These jade stones were not as simple as they were before. Although Yi Chen could sense the Heavenly Tao imprint in them, he needed to examine them. Heavenly Spirit Buddha Eye. This time, Yi Chen used the level 3 Heavenly Tao mark that he had previously comprehended. Together with his Heavenly Spirit Buddha's Eye, he unleashed the Buddha's Eye technique to its limit. Within the Buddha Eye, the Heavenly Tao jades hidden among the many other jades appeared one after another. All right. Yi Chen narrowed his eyes and locked onto the jade stone with the densest Heavenly Tao energy. Analyze. Activating the analysis command, Yi Chen's Heavenly Spirit Buddha's Eye quickly determined that the Heavenly Tao mark before him was a combination of the 6 heavenly seals and the 12 earthly fiend seals. After confirming this conclusion, Yi Chen opened the ancient God space and instantly entered system analysis mode. Through the Heavenly Spirit Buddha's Eye, Shifeng transferred all of the Heavenly Tao's information into the ancient God space. He then used the 36 heavenly spirits and 72 earthly fiends to analyze the Tier 4 mark's true structure. ZZZ. In Yi Chen's ancient God space, a three-dimensional diagram appeared. It was the arrangement of the Heavenly Tao mark. Once Yi Chen saw this arrangement, he would have a basic understanding of the Heavenly Tao mark before him. In that order, Yi Chen controlled dozens of Heavenly Tao jades in a row. His efficiency made the other powerhouses gasp in amazement and almost go crazy. I don't believe it. That brat can control more than 10 rank 4 imprints in 2 hours. Do you really believe it? This kind of efficiency is simply inhuman. At that moment, everyone realized that it was meaningless to blindly question Yi Chen. The truth was right before their eyes. Yi Chen's actions had proven that he was different from the rest. You talk too much nonsense. Instead of caring about these things, I might as well improve my own comprehension. Fiery Dragon roared. Ha, that's easy for you to say. Venerable Fiery Dragon, Yi Chen's comprehension efficiency will soon surpass us. By then, who knows how much his ability will improve. The Evil Lord laughed. There are so many supreme rank combatants here. Why would we be afraid of Yi Chen? Seems like the evil spirits are just SOSO. Venerable Fiery Dragon retorted. I advise you not to be so arrogant. My evil spirit army is just outside. Their numbers are 100 times that of your primordial immortal world. Ha ha, what a joke. Before Buddha Emperor Peak, the evil spirit army is just a motley crew. If they're so capable, let them come in and let me have a look. You! Although the evil lord was enraged, He understood that immortal fire dragon's words made sense. In the Buddha Emperor peak, it would be disrespectful to the Buddha Emperor. Once he was targeted by the Reverend Jie-in, things would get worse. Of course, the evil lord still had his own thoughts. Before entering Buddha Emperor peak, he had already sent a message to the origin of evil spirits. When the time came, more powerhouses from the evil spirit clan would definitely come. Similarly, the magic martial world and the primordial immortal world had done the same. It could be said that other than Yi Chen's forces, the other forces had a backup plan. Yi Chen was very clear about this. Therefore, he had to use the shortest time to increase his strength to the greatest extent. This was the most fundamental principle that Yi Chen followed as he roamed the universe. At the same time, it was also something that he had to do. Otherwise, he did not know how many times he would die. In the independent space, the level 4 imprints that Yi Chen had absorbed were not comparable to ordinary level 4 imprints at all. They were even equivalent to level 5 imprints. If one had not cultivated the 108 basic imprints, one might not be able to understand these imprints even after 10 years of comprehension. However, after cultivating the 108 basic imprints, Yi Chen could easily use these imprints to create offensive abilities in just a few hours. Level 4 Imprint, Heavenly Sword. Yi Chen waved his fingers. Instantly, the level 4 imprint floated in the air. Fusing with Yi Chen's ancient god power, it turned into a huge sword shape and pointed at the peak ahead. Rumble! There was a shocking explosion. The super peak that was filled with Buddhist power and laws suddenly collapsed before everyone's eyes. This attack could completely annihilate a peak mystic immortal, leaving no chance of survival. The level 4 imprint already had such power. Then, what about a more advanced imprint? Could it really fight a heavenly immortal? Yi Chen's heart was filled with excitement. No matter how fast he cultivated, he could not raise his cultivation level to heavenly immortal in a short time. However, strength was different. The strength of a mutant could break through their own cultivation level. The Heavenly Tao imprint was one of Yi Chen's methods to achieve this. Yi Chen was very satisfied with the power of this attack. The Heavenly Tao imprint had enhanced his strength far more than any other power. This was a good sign. Yi Chen continued to comprehend the Heavenly Tao imprint in the level 4 Buddha pond. The other combatants were also doing the same in their own Buddha ponds. The great ancestor, Wu Shuang, and the other combatants had already broken through and entered the level 3 Buddha pond. This was also very important for everyone to improve their information. They had used some information about the basic imprint that Yi Chen had secretly transmitted to them before he left to complete the self-breakthrough so quickly. Otherwise, even genius cultivators like the Patriarch and Wu Shuang might need to spend several hours or even several days more. Entering the level 3 Buddha pond meant that they were at the same level as combatants like the demon Venerable Sky Dragon. This attracted the attention of the other combatants. They stared coldly at the great ancestor and the others, a threatening aura automatically emanating from them. However, the great ancestor of Hell knew very well that these people had reached a critical moment in comprehending the Heavenly Tao imprint. They did not dare to act recklessly. Chapter 22-26. In the independent space, Yi Chen was cultivating rank 4 sword technique. He had reached a critical moment. Many special 4th level imprints floated in the air. The Heavenly Tao energy contained in these imprints was incomparable to the previous 3rd level imprint. Moreover, Yi Chen was in a special independent space, so the power of the imprints was naturally stronger. Seeing Yi Chen continuously improving himself in the independent space, the combatants from the other forces were fearful. Especially the evil spirit world and the demon martial world, who had a grudge against Yi Chen. They were terrified by Yi Chen's improvement. Evil supremacy, if Yi Chen is allowed to cultivate in that space, there'll be chaos. The Tianqi evil lord said. His previous fight with Yi Chen made him understand how powerful Yi Chen's talent was. Now, he had also gained the Buddha Emperor's favor. With such talent and such opportunities, even a fool could imagine what the consequences would be. Don't I know? The evil undying lord roared in rage. He was extremely frustrated. Yi Chen had absorbed and refined the mark of the 4 seasons, which was already above them, the super powerhouses. This meant that in the eyes of the Buddha Emperor, they, heavenly immortals and true demons, were no match for a human immortal. Under such circumstances, whether it was in terms of benefits or reputation, they had suffered a great setback. It's best if we join forces with the combatants from the other forces and break the special space together. The Tianqi evil lord's eyes were cold as he spoke in shock. Would this offend the extradite venerable one? Faced with this extremely risky method, the evil supremacy suddenly smirked and then revealed a smug expression. He said, Tianqi evil lord, that's a good idea. Contact the combatants from the other forces immediately. Alright. The Tianqi evil lord had finished comprehending the imprints in his Buddha pond and looked at the other Buddha ponds. In the rank 4 Buddha pond, perfected person Firelong, perfected person Lingyu, and perfected person Lei Yun were there. On the demon martial world side, it was the Qi Yen demon lord. Qi Yen demon lord, perfected persons, don't you care about Yi Chen's cultivation progress? The Tianqi evil lord shouted at the crowd. Everyone tilted their heads slightly and looked at him, smirking. Of course, everyone understood this, but so what? Could someone break through the barrier and attack Yi Chen directly? Evil Lord Tianqi, what are you trying to do? Cut the crap. The Qi Flame Demon Lord shouted impatiently. Qi Yen Devil Lord, don't be impatient and ruin things. This time, I want to make a deal with you guys. The people from the 3 major forces will break this independent space together, kill Yi Chen, and share the various opportunities on him. How about that? Oh? The other powerhouses smiled with interest, but they were more concerned about whether they could open this independent space with their power and whether the extraditer would intervene. Seeing the hesitation in everyone's eyes, the evil lord laughed and said, Ha ha ha, everyone here is a heaven immortal or a true demon expert. Why are you so hesitant? Let me tell you, Venerable Jie Yin will never manage so many things. Moreover, I am confident that with everyone's strength, we can open an independent space. Evil Lord Tianqi, you make it sound so easy. Are you really confident? Reverend Thundercloud asked. This evil lord has been cultivating under the Bodhi tree for a long time, and I know the situation here like the back of my hand. Listen to my instructions, and you will definitely have a good ending. Everyone looked at evil Lord Tianqi and then at Yi Chen, who was in the independent space, experimenting with rank 4 sword techniques. This scene made the combatants even more worried. Alright, I'll do as you wish. The first to agree was the Qi Yen demon lord. He also thought that they could not wait. If Yi Chen defied the heavens and comprehended the rank 5 mark, no one here would be a match for him. The other combatants frowned and could only agree. In the end, the evil Lord Tianqi, the Qi Yen demon lord, the Fire Dragon Sage, the Cold Moon Sage, and the Thundercloud Sage, the 6 combatants had to carry out this plan. The combatants walked to the independent space. Yi Chen had long noticed their movements, but even if they were in front of him, Yi Chen would not pay attention to them. He continued to cultivate his rank 4 sword technique. Ha ha ha, Yi Chen, your end is here. Evil Lord Tianqi laughed wildly at Yi Chen. Facing the pressure of the combatants, Yi Chen was not afraid at all. His rank 4 sword techniques became more refined and exquisite. This brat is too arrogant. Let us attack. Immortal Fire Dragon said. All right. Everyone knew that the situation was urgent. Without another word, they attacked one after another, wanting to break the barrier before them. This scene made the Patriarch, Wu Shuang, and the others in the level 3 Buddha pond feel threatened. They were worried for Yi Chen. Yi Chen put away the sword gleam and turned to look at the evil Lord Tianqi and the others. Come at me if you can. Ha ha ha, you're so arrogant. Unfortunately, you still have to die. The combatants unleashed their power. The majestic energy formed a spear of destruction and blasted at the independent space. Rumble! A huge explosion shook the wind and clouds for thousands of miles. The entire Buddha Emperor Peak was shaking. The wind and clouds above the 9 heavens moved, the sun and moon dimmed, and the world became chaotic. At this moment, even the independent space began to crack and the space barrier collapsed. It could not stop the combined attack of the 6 combatants. Great Emperor! The Patriarch and the others looked terrified. If Yi Chen was hit, they would all die here. In the face of such a disaster, Yi Chen struck first. Just as the combatants unleashed their ultimate power and broke the barrier, Yi Chen suddenly flew up to the 9 heavens. The Heavenly Emperor's sword and the immortal slaying flying saber appeared in his left and right hands respectively. Heavenly Emperor's sword, universal slash. Ultimate blade technique, Skybreaker. The 2 peerless artifacts had grown together with Yi Chen. Now, with the power of the level 4 mark, the immortal slaying flying saber fused with underworld divine power, and the Heavenly Emperor's sword fused with ancient divine power, the 2 most powerful forces met here. At the same time, Yi Chen found the best timing after analyzing. When the space barrier was broken, he would use the power of the shattering space to complement his 2 strongest techniques. Kill! Yi Chen yelled, kill! Between heaven and earth, in the realm of chaos where the sun and moon were dim, the immortal slaying flying saber and the Heavenly Emperor's sword released a murderous gleam at the same time. They used the space barrier to break and attacked instantly. What? Feeling the unimaginable destructive power of Yi Chen's double kill technique, even the heavenly immortals and true demons trembled and their minds collapsed. Impossible! The combatants had just broken the barrier before them and did not have time to react. They were attacked by Yi Chen's sword and saber. Cries of pain rang out continuously. The combatants fell from the 9 heavens one after another. Chapter 22-27. Impossible, that's impossible. Sage Lei Yun's eyes widened as he shouted in disbelief. How could he have imagined that Yi Chen could fight against 6 powerhouses all by himself? No one could see clearly what had happened. All they saw was that the 6 powerhouses had been severely injured by Yi Chen's super-powerful combo. It was the best opportunity to kill Yi Chen, but it became the perfect opportunity for Yi Chen to injure the 6 powerhouses. This turn of events left the armies of the evil spirit world, the devil martial world, and the primordial immortal world completely stunned. They watched helplessly as their leaders were all shot down by Yi Chen. They had never seen such a shocking scene before. Did you see that? It's real. The 6 leaders joined forces but were taken down by Yi Chen alone. Is this the power of a level 4 sword technique? Is the independent space really so magical? What kind of power can cause such destruction? The 6 powerhouses are all heavenly demons, true demons, and heavenly immortals. They're much stronger than Yi Chen in terms of cultivation base, but why is this the result? Is this kid really the reincarnation of a god? The warriors and powerhouses of the various factions discussed among themselves. They could not understand at all. As for the Patriarch, Wu Shuang, and the others, they were elated when they saw the result as if they were celebrating the new year. Of course, they did not expect this result. However, their trust in Yi Chen had reached a new height. The great Emperor is invincible. The great Emperor is invincible. We will follow the great Emperor's footsteps forever. Everyone cheered for Yi Chen and the others. However, danger was right in front of them. Death Stare had already activated behind them. Sky Dragon Demon Venerable and Nine-Tailed Demon Venerable attacked them. Watch out! The ghostly Patriarch saw the killing intent and shouted. Everyone turned around and saw the evil dragon and Nine-Tailed Demon Venerable charging at them. Underworld Sword Chi, go! In the face of such danger, the Patriarch of Underworld stepped forward and used the 3,000 feet long sword Chi to fight against the Sky Dragon Demon Venerable. Rumble! With a loud explosion, the patriarch felt a tightness in his chest. His chi and blood surged and spurted out of his mouth. This situation made everyone's hearts tremble. Patriarch! Everyone rushed over to support the patriarch, but the nine-tailed demon Venerable's 9 tails flashed at the same time. Dream on! At that moment, Jian Wushuang unleashed a supreme sword aura. It was the power of the celestial Dharch sword. Unparalleled, soaring to the heavens, sword chi surged. Killing Buddha sword. The special Buddhist power that was absorbed from the holy monument took effect at this moment. The power of the killing Buddha sword burst out from the celestial Dharch sword and rushed toward the nine-tailed demon lord. What? Nine-tailed was shocked. She did not absorb any special Buddhist power from the holy monument. At that moment, all 9 of them came out at the same time. However, the moment she came into contact with the Buddhist sword of slaughter, she felt how insignificant she was. Although her cultivation base was still above Yi Wushuang's, she could only lose against the heavenly emperor sword gleam that was enhanced by the Buddhist sword of slaughter and the rank 3 mark. Ah! With a pout, the 9-tailed demon sovereign fell from the sky. 9 tails! Sky Dragon Demon Sovereign released his demonic energy and caught 9-tailed Demon Sovereign, but the latter was already heavily injured by the Buddhist sword of slaughter. Great Wushuang, awesome! The patriarch and the others were overjoyed. Finally, there was another powerhouse besides Yi Chen who could fight against demon venerable ones. At the same time, the 6 powerhouses got up one after another. They were dazed by Yi Chen's attack and did not know what had happened. The evil lord of Tianqi frowned and looked at everyone. The one who was the most injured was the Qi Yen demon lord. When the barrier was broken, he was the closest to Yi Chen's sword gleam and bore the brunt. Now that his meridians were injured, the situation was not optimistic. On the primordial immortal world side, Sage Lei Yun was the most injured, followed by Sage Fire Dragon. Sage Lingyu relied on her own immortal method and was basically unharmed. How can this brat be so powerful? I don't believe that a rank 4 mark is so powerful. Sage Lei Yun was weak, but he could not hide the anger in his heart as he roared. Lei Yun, rest! Sigh. Sage Lingyu was still calm. She walked forward and placed her palm on Sage Lei Yun's back. Waves of immortal energy flowed into him, stabilizing Sage Lei Yun's reversed meridians. Thank you, senior brother Lingyu. Sage Lei Yun bowed and sat down to recuperate. The other powerhouses looked at Yi Chen. How did this culprit, who caused them such heavy injuries, do it? Facing the powerhouses' cold gazes, Yi Chen smiled lightly and strode forward. I've said it before. You're digging your own grave. Yi Chen said. Don't be arrogant. I've already seen through your profundity. A person walked forward. Instantly, the surrounding space rapidly turned cold. The ground froze and space stagnated. As everyone trembled in shock, they saw Sage Lingyu. What did you see? You used the power of the space barrier to shatter. Is that so? Of course. So what? There's no space barrier now. You're trapped in our encirclement. How many chances do you think you have? Sage Lingyu's words enlightened the other powerhouses. They surrounded Yi Chen one after another. I see. This time, I'll make you die without a burial place. The one who charged at the front was the evil supremacy. He was not seriously injured in the previous space explosion. Now, he wanted to capture Yi Chen and obtain the various opportunities and powers on him. Kill! The evil supremacy released countless evil energy. Immediately, waves of evil energy in the surrounding space turned into dark hands and attacked Yi Chen in a frenzy. Useless move! Yi Chen waved his hand and unleashed the immortal slaying flying saber. The immortal slaying law operated and combined with the level 4 heaven path mark was incomparably sharp. In the blink of an eye, the dark hands were all cut into pieces by the immortal slaying flying saber and turned into dust. Seeing this, the evil supremacy turned pale with fright. He finally realized the strength of the person before him. "Let's kill him together," the evil supremacy shouted at the crowd. "Kill!" Demon Venerable Sky Dragon and Nine-Tailed Demon Venerable roared and charged. However, despite their strength, they were still no threat to Yi Chen. Clang, clang. Yi Chen took a step forward and blocked the attack with his black gold glazed form. Boom, boom, boom. Explosions rang out on his body, but when the smoke and dust dissipated, everyone saw Yi Chen in perfect condition. This was the result of Demon Venerable Sky Dragon and Nine-Tailed Demon Venerable attacking with level 3 Heaven Path Mark. Ah! The two Demon Venerables trembled and wanted to retreat. However, it was a joke to think that they could escape before Yi Chen. Level 4 Heaven Path, Pluto's Star-Plucking Hand. What? As the two Demon Venerables watched in shock, the Pluto Star-Plucking Hand descended. With a grab, the two Demon Venerables fell into a dark space at the same time. Then, their bones shattered and blood spurted. They died on the spot. Such power made the Demon Martial World's army tremble. A single move could kill two Demon Venerables of the Demon World. It was too exaggerated. Chapter 22-28. Is this the power of a fourth-tier Heavenly Tao? He actually completely crushed a third-stage Heavenly Tao. At that moment, everyone finally realized the advantage of rank 4 Heavenly Tao over rank 3 Heavenly Tao. Yi Chen displayed this advantage to the fullest. It was as if he had the help of God. No, he used a special 4th-order Heavenly Tao, or even a power equivalent to a 5th-order Heavenly Tao. That's why he was able to kill the two demon sovereigns so easily. Spiritual Master Ling Yu spoke. Everyone fell into a state of shock. It was actually equivalent to level 5 heavenly energy. This was just too terrifying. One must know that many of the combatants here could not even enter the door of rank 4 Heavenly Tao. Yi Chen had cultivated power equivalent to rank 5 Heavenly Tao. How could they accept that? Their cultivation base was originally far above Yi Chen's. How did this happen? Yi Chen had defeated two Demon Venerables and severely injured the Qi Yen Demon Master at the same time. No one dared to resist Yi Chen at all. This was all part of Yi Chen's plan. Emperor! The Patriarch and the rest were in high spirits. They were finally relieved that Yi Chen had returned safely. Do you still want to fight to the death with me, or do you want to head to a higher place? Yi Chen shouted sternly as he glanced at the people from the major forces. The evil spirit world, the primordial immortal world, and the demon martial world fell into deep thought. Now that the Qi Yen Demon Lord was heavily injured and the two Demon Venerables had been killed, it was clear that the demon martial world no longer had the ability to fight against Yi Chen. Naturally, they hoped to advance to a higher level. Not only could they reduce their losses, but they could also improve their own strength at the same time. The combatants from the evil spirit world and the primordial immortal world looked at each other. Finally, they agreed with Yi Chen's idea. After all, their main purpose in coming here was to obtain the Buddha Emperor's inheritance. Killing Yi Chen was just a secondary goal. Now that Yi Chen possessed the special 4th-level Heavenly Tao power, the consequences would be unpredictable if he fought recklessly. Why not continue cultivating and wait for the staff of his organization to arrive? Ha ha ha, good boy, you really have spirit. This Tao Master will agree to your request. I, the Evil Lord, will give you a chance. The primordial immortal of the primordial spirit world and the evil spirit world's evil overlord agreed to Yi Chen's request. Very well, then let's make an agreement. What agreement? All the powerhouses looked at Yi Chen, wanting to know what he was going to do. Yi Chen smiled lightly and said, "Before everyone breaks through to level 6 Heaven Tao, we're not allowed to attack each other." What? 6th-stage Heavenly Tao? Everyone was shocked for a moment. They did not expect Yi Chen to set his goal above level 6 Heavenly Tao. This was too exaggerated. One should know that even super powerhouses like the Fire Dragon Sage and the Evil Overlord had spent several months to break through to the 4th level of Heavenly Tao. No one knew what the 5th level of Heavenly Tao was like. Some people might not even think about breaking through in their lifetime. Yi Chen had set his goal at the 6th level of Heavenly Tao. To a large extent, if he agreed, the major factions would not easily attack Yi Chen's faction. This was a good idea. Humph, this emperor understands your thoughts. Suddenly, Yi Chen scoffed coldly and looked at the crowd coldly. The crowd panicked for a moment. Everyone knew that Yi Chen was decisive when it came to killing. Once he was angry, no one could stop him from killing. This natural pressure even caused many profound immortals' legs to go weak and tremble without end. It was hard to imagine that a group of Xian immortals would be so submissive in front of a true immortal. What do you know? Fiery Dragon asked. Cut the crap. This emperor can tell you the way to break through. What? The powerhouses were even more shocked. They clearly heard that Yi Chen had elevated himself to a higher level and looked down on all living beings. Perhaps these heavenly immortals and evil overlords were like ants in Yi Chen's eyes. He wanted to teach all living beings. This attitude made the major factions very unhappy. If they agreed, it would mean that they were already a level lower than Yi Chen. They could even call Yi Chen senior and ask for guidance. Naturally, these people did not feel good under such circumstances. However, they knew very well that Yi Chen's talent was far above theirs. If they wanted to understand the 5th level of Heavenly Tao mark, Yi Chen was the best candidate. The Fire Dragon Sage and the Evil Overlord Dun frowned and did not speak. Everyone understood that Yi Chen had the absolute initiative. What do you think? Yi Chen did not want to waste time and asked urgently. This Fiery Dragon Sage hesitated. As a master of the primordial immortal world, should he really ask a mere true immortal for guidance? The strong are respected and the prodigy is the master. What's wrong with that? Suddenly, the evil lord of Tianqi spoke. His eerie laughter echoed, making everyone very uncomfortable. However, this represented his attitude. He had agreed to Yi Chen's request. The others glanced at each other and could only nod. None of them had the confidence to fully comprehend the 5th stage Heavenly Tao because they had only scratched the surface during the process of comprehending the 4th stage Heavenly Tao. They did not obtain any profound principles. When they saw Yi Chen use the special 4th level of Heavenly Tao to kill the 2 demon venerables, they realized that their comprehension ability was not on the same level as Yi Chen. We agree. Everyone responded in unison. Agree? Ha ha, then you have to have the right attitude and call me senior. Ha! The powerhouses were enraged. Indeed, it was as they had imagined. Yi Chen was a peerless person. His behavior could not be compared to ordinary cultivators at all. Looking at the powerhouses who were suppressing their anger, Yi Chen smirked. He looked like a high and mighty god. Good. The Patriarch of Hell and the others were even more excited. They did not expect that Yi Chen could easily subdue these heavenly immortals with his own comprehension ability. How evil! Who else could do this besides Yi Chen? Senior. A familiar voice rang. It was the evil lord of Tianqi. Yi Chen looked at the evil lord of Tianqi coldly. Yi Chen was already aware of this person's sinister and ruthless personality. He did not expect him to be so decisive in such a situation. It was clear that he did not care about the so-called humiliation in front of benefit. Senior. The other powerhouses shouted this solemn word at the same time. Ha ha, all right. Everyone, please. Yi Chen laughed wildly and then walked toward the 5th level of Heavenly Tao barrier. Psionic voice transmission reached the ears of the Patriarch, Wu Shuang, and the others. Focus on cultivation and quickly break through to the 3rd level of Heavenly Tao according to the method I taught you. Yes. Everyone responded at the same time. They sat cross-legged in the Buddha pond and focused on cultivation. Yi Chen brought the most powerful powerhouses to the 5th level of Heavenly Tao barrier. Yi Chen turned to look at the others. Everyone was confused. Senior, is this what you mean? I'll give you a chance to perform. Who will break this barrier door? Huh. Chapter 22-29. Hearing Yi Chen's words, the so-called powerhouses revealed troubled expressions. They had to work together to open the Tier 4 passage, and now it was even more difficult to open the Tier 5 passage. It would be fine if they could open it naturally, but if they failed, they would lose face. Who's next? Yi Chen smiled at the students like a mentor. Ha, Senior, you're someone who has entered the special 4th stage Buddha Pond. You should do it. Sage Lei Yun smiled. Yes, Senior, why not open it yourself and give us a chance to watch? We respectfully invite Senior to do it. The combatants cupped their hands. Naturally, they had their own thoughts. They wanted to see Yi Chen's strength while preserving their own strength. These people were old monsters who had cultivated for hundreds or even thousands of years. One could imagine how cunning they were. Yi Chen had expected this situation. Since that was the case, why not make a move? Yi Chen walked to the front. The space before him seemed empty. This was the perspective of an ordinary person. Yi Chen had the Heavenly Buddha's eye to begin with. Now that he had comprehended the special 4th stage Heavenly Tao, his Buddhist ocular technique had reached a new level. In his field of vision, the space before him was filled with countless 4th stage Heavenly Tao imprints that formed a grand formation. These 9,000 formations were hidden in the air before him. The primordial immortal fire dragon from the primordial immortal world smirked and looked in Yi Chen's direction. He had comprehended the 4th stage Heavenly Tao and was a heavenly immortal. Naturally, he could sense the existence of the formation. However, he could not see it as clearly as Yi Chen. Everyone, do you think Yi Chen can open the 5th stage technique? Sage Fire Dragon asked the other combatants using energy voice transmission. Ha, Sage Fire Dragon, I think you've been fooled by this kid's facade. Even if he's relying on the special 4th stage Heavenly Tao, I don't believe he can open such a grand formation alone. The evil lord sneered. The other combatants thought the same. They instinctively did not want Yi Chen to open the 5th stage technique so easily. The evil lord of heavenly venom had even received a hint from the evil lord and had begun to secretly increase the difficulty of Yi Chen opening the technique. Although this would also slow down the time it took for them to enter the level 5 Buddha Pond, as long as they could weaken Yi Chen, why not? After all, they believed that even if Yi Chen failed, they could still activate the level 5 cultivation method by joining forces. Yi Chen stood before the barrier. What he wanted now was not only to activate the technique before him but also to perfectly evolve the 4th level Heavenly Tao that he had previously cultivated. This was a test for his previous cultivation. The rank 4 spirit formation marks appeared in the Buddha's eye. 7-star positioning. Yi Chen activated the 7 Astra power. In an instant, 7 rays of starlight shone on the technique before him. Under the reflection of the starlight, the structure of the technique became clearer. 8 Gates Divine Plate. Yi Chen unleashed the power of the 8 Gates Godly Disc once more. Instantly, countless Tier 4 imprints were released from Judgment's door opening, bombarding the technique in a frenzy. Each attack seemed to be invisible, but in reality, it still accurately locked onto the structure of the technique barrier. Boom, boom, boom. Soon, many of the nodes on the formation started to collapse. Following that, the entire formation started to collapse. Such precision and speed of breaking the array shocked everyone present. Before this, the combatants who thought that the 5th level technique barrier would definitely be a huge burden on Yi Chen were now not only slapped in the face, but they were also furious. Yi Chen's Heavenly Tao cultivation base was far above theirs. Moreover, the 8 Gates Godly Disc that Yi Chen used could perfectly merge with the Heavenly Tao mark and circulate together. This way, the might of the Heavenly Tao mark would be enhanced and enhanced once again. Kacha, kacha, kacha. Finally, the technique structure before them shattered and the fifth-level Buddha pond appeared before them. The great emperor is mighty, mighty. On the human tribe's side, many combatants shouted Yi Chen's name. Not only did the combatants from the other factions not get this opportunity to train, but they were also suppressed by Yi Chen in terms of aura. Please. Yi Chen led the way forward and walked alone, not even looking at the combatants behind him. Arrogant. The combatants behind him were unwilling, but they were not as capable as the others, so there was nothing to say. After entering the fifth-level Buddha pond, Yi Chen's eyes were sharp as he scanned the surrounding Buddha ponds. He noticed that there were 3 rows of Buddha ponds and 9 seats. Most people would think that the Buddha ponds in the back were of higher quality. Therefore, the combatants from the major factions rushed toward the Buddha ponds in the back. The Evil Supremacy, Fire Dragon Sage, and Lei Yun Sage were the fastest. Soon, they occupied the 3 Buddha ponds at the back. However, Yi Chen, Ling Yu, and Tianqi Evil Lord were not in a hurry to move. Although the 3 of them were happy, they felt that something was wrong when they saw the behavior of Yi Chen and the others behind them. Senior Ling Yu, what are you waiting for? Lei Yun Sage asked. There's no rush. Ling Yu replied coldly and did not say anything else. Evil Lord Tianqi and Sage Ling Yu's eyes were on Yi Chen. Clearly, both of them were paying attention to which seat or which row Yi Chen would choose. Now, they had to admit that Yi Chen's ability to sense the heavenly Tao mark was far above everyone else's. The thought of following Yi Chen was the reason why they did not move. Ha! Yi Chen sneered. He had his eyes on a Buddha pond. It was the Buddha pond on the left in the middle row. After flying into this Buddha pond, Ling Yu and Tianqi Evil Lord looked at each other. Then, they flew toward the other Buddha ponds in the middle row. Finally, the powerhouses found their own Buddha pond. After entering the Buddha pond, Yi Chen closed his eyes and focused. He completely blocked out the outside world's interference and calmed his heart to cultivate. Of course, he was not a reckless person. He would not trust these powerhouses before him. Therefore, he secretly set up a level 4 Heavenly Tao formation in the Buddha pond to prevent any sneak attack. Especially against Tianqi Evil Lord and Ling Yu. These 2 were Yi Chen's true opponents. The seal in the rank 5 Buddha pond was clearly stronger than before. Even Yi Chen would not be able to comprehend such a seal in a short period of time. He would need to cultivate in peace. Time passed by. Everyone was in a state of cultivation. They could not feel the rapid flow of time. For several months, no one moved and no one woke up. The heavenly Tao mark focused on one's inner understanding. Only when one's heart and mind were the same would one be in the state of being one with heaven and man. The so-called heavenly Tao was nothing more than this. However, to merge one's heart and mind with the mark was the most difficult. Many people were trapped in it and could not extricate themselves. They were confused by the heavenly Tao and were trapped forever. Some people could not understand the mystery, and it was as if they were trapped in an endless cycle of reincarnation. It was even more painful. Only the truly talented could find a way out from the little bit of cultivation. Unknowingly, a year had passed. The patriarchs in the level 3 Buddha pond had broken through. Chapter 2230. Rumble. A series of explosions erupted in the sky. The entire Meru Buddha realm trembled as countless battleships appeared in the sky. An evil spirit walked out from one of the huge battleships. This person was covered in blue scales, and he had 4 horns on his head, all of which grew towards the back of his head. There was an evil mark between his eyebrows that shone with an evil light, and evil tattoos on his face. This person was the 9th source of the evil spirit. 9th Lord, we've followed Evil Lord Tianqi's guidance and entered the Meru Bodhi realm. One of the evil lords bowed to the 9th source. The 9th Origin nodded slightly, then looked out into the Bodhi realm, where he saw Archdevil Seascale. In the distance, Demon Lord Hai Lin felt his entire body tremble. It was the powerful spiritual pressure of the 9th source, and he was trembling uncontrollably. The evil spirits still have something up their sleeve. Not good. Demon Lord Hai Lin's eyes turned cold. He had originally wanted to receive the experts from the demon martial world, but he hadn't. Instead, an extremely powerful evil spirit expert had appeared. Everyone, hide! He shouted to the army around him. They didn't know what was going on, but they followed his orders. Ha ha ha, isn't it too late? The ninth source's majestic voice descended, and all the demon martial world warriors stopped in their tracks. It wasn't because they wanted to, but because they had no choice. Their bodies had already been restricted by the evil energy from thousands of miles away. The opponent's pressure seemed to transcend space, and it was terrifying. Damn it! Demon Lord Hai Lin was furious. He flew into the sky and attacked, trying to stop the ninth source's evil energy. But it was like an ant trying to shake a tree. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle! The evil energy turned into strange lightning that descended from the clouds. All the demon martial world warriors couldn't escape, not even Demon Lord Hai Lin. Too powerful! Demon Lord Hai Lin couldn't help but acknowledge the ninth source's strength. It was like an irresistible will, and his mind was gradually numb. As a peak mystic immortal expert, he never thought that he would one day be controlled like a lamb. The demon martial warriors were even more shocked. They looked at Hai Lin Overlord in horror, wanting to know what was going on. However, Hai Lin Overlord couldn't even take care of himself, so he didn't have time to tell them. Boom! Then, space shattered, and a huge fleet appeared. Ha ha ha! The ninth Origin's laughter caused the realm of devil and martial arts army to feel even more pain than before. Many of their experts couldn't even stand it, and their bones were broken. It was a terrifying sight, and any resistance they had put up was like a clay ox sinking into the sea. People from the demon martial world, interesting. The ninth Origin looked down at the army of the realm of devil martial arts, and a cold smile appeared on its face. Kacha, kacha, kacha! With a wave of his sharp claws, a great number of warriors from the realm of devil and martial arts had their bones broken, their meridians broken, and they died instantly. Howls of pain and the pain of their bones shattering caused the warriors of the world of demon and martial to fall into the most terrifying purgatory. Under such torture, death seemed to have lost its terrifying color. Instead, this torture was even more terrifying than death. Let me go, let me die a quick death. Bastard, just kill me. Countless voices begging for death resounded throughout the entire bloody battlefield. Seeing his warriors struggling painfully in this purgatory, Demon Sovereign Hai Lin completely collapsed. Damn it! Demon Sovereign Hai Lin unleashed his most powerful attack, sacrificing his devil heart. Instantly, all of the devil energy in his body exploded out, shooting up into the heavens like the roar of a mad dragon. He wanted to seriously injure the ninth Origin. Unfortunately, he had overestimated his own strength. Even after sacrificing his devil heart and unleashing his most destructive devil energy, he was still like an ant in front of the ninth Origin. The ninth Origin was very pleased with Demon Sovereign Hai Lin's desperate struggle. Laughing heartily, it made a grasping motion with its hand, causing Demon Sovereign Hai Lin to float up into the air. Next, all of the devil warriors watched as Demon Sovereign Hai Lin's body began to twist and contort into all sorts of impossible shapes. Then, he transformed into a puddle of blood. Bzzzt. Bzzzt. Blood flowed like rain, and the realm of devil and martial arts army down below dropped to their knees, not daring to even look at the ninth Origin. Blue Azure Sea, allow the ninth Origin to bring you to a beautiful end. The ninth Origin pointed up into the sky, causing a black alms bowl to appear. Countless drops of blood flowed into the bowl, which then turned blue and began to churn violently. And all of you! Next, the alms bowl began to grow larger and larger, until it covered the sky and then began to fall down. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Boundless blue blood rained down, and all the warriors of the demon martial world fell into it, their entire bodies covered in this blue blood. Next, their bodies began to corrode, and their flesh and blood turned into scorched earth. Blood-stained bones began to protrude out of their bodies, which then transformed into blue bone statues that performed all sorts of movements. The ninth origin turned to the experts behind it and said, "Hee hee hee. What do you all think of such a charming scene?" "Good, good, good!" All of the wretch lords cheered. Back in the Tier 5 Buddhist pond, Devil Lord Qi Yen was recuperating and absorbing the Tier 5 heavenly Tao. All of a sudden, one of the pearls on his wrist shattered. What? Next, the image of Demon Sovereign Hai Lin's death appeared in his mind. Damn it! Devil Lord Qi Yan's eyes glowed with a blood-red light. Demonic energy surged into the sky, sweeping through the surrounding space. However, it was all blocked by the barrier of the Buddhist pond. The other experts in the Buddhist pond did not even open their eyes. They were not interested in what was happening to Devil Lord Qi Yen. Only Yi Chen's Buddha's eye flickered. He had sensed a new, powerful force within the Sumeru Buddhist realm. Moreover, this force was far stronger than all of the experts present. It was a huge threat. He immediately sent this information to Patriarch Hell and the others, telling them to hide in the Tier 4 Buddhist pond and not do anything. Under the protection of the Buddha Emperor, the Buddhist pond was the best place to hide. Ha ha ha! At that moment, the evil overlord suddenly laughed wildly. Clearly, he had sensed the presence of the ninth origin. Now, the strength of the evil spirit world would definitely soar. No one would be able to shake their position. What are you laughing at, evil overlord? Do you know that Demon Sovereign Hai Lin died at the hands of the evil spirit world? Devil Lord Qi Yen suddenly flew up. His rage was just a show. He had already realized that the Red Demon clan was in danger of being exterminated. Chapter 2231. Heh, so what? I'm not as skilled as you, so I'll just let you die. The evil Undying Lord sneered in response to the Flame Demon Lord's roar. The ninth origin's arrival was a great advantage for the evil spirit world. As long as he and his people held out, everything would belong to the evil spirits. Bastard! The Qi Yen Demon Master was enraged. Everyone had participated in this operation to kill Yi Chen, but he was the one who had suffered the most damage. Now, the evil Exalted Lord was deliberately mocking him, clearly not taking him seriously. As a result, the Red Demon Army was in a critical situation. If they did not give an adequate response, they would become the weakest party. Flame Demon Lord, what else do you have? The evil Undying Lord looked at the Flame Demon Lord coldly, a threatening look on his face. The evil spirit's prestige had risen, suppressing everyone present. The demon martial world was in a bad state now, and they would definitely be forced. The Flame Demon Lord's heart was ice cold. Several demon venerables had died in this operation. He had already let down the Red Demon tribe. If the entire Red Demon army died here, he would become the greatest sinner in the history of the Red Demon tribe. In such a disadvantageous situation, the Flame Demon Lord forced himself to calm down. Lord Demon Lord! The Red Demon tribe powerhouses shouted at the Flame Demon Lord from the third stage Buddha Pond. As long as the Flame Demon Lord gave the order, they would fight to the death against the evil spirit. All of you, shut up! Yes. Receiving the order, the Demon tribe powerhouses said no more, but they knew very well that the Red Demon tribe had lost the right to negotiate. Ha 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 ha! The evil Undying Lord laughed. With the arrival of the ninth origin, neither the demon martial world nor the primordial world would be a threat to him. In that case, dealing with Yi Chen would be a piece of cake. Of course, Yi Chen saw this scene. He had already sensed the powerful aura outside. It was a cultivation level far above everyone else's, and even had an irresistible power. This was a devastating blow to his own team. If this goes on, things will get out of hand. Yi Chen glanced at the surrounding powerhouses, muttering to himself coldly. Everyone! Suddenly, Yi Chen stood up and shouted at the crowd. All the powerhouses turned around to look at Yi Chen, wondering what he was going to do. Everyone was on tenterhooks. Yi Chen walked over to the experts from the Primordial Immortal Empire and the Devil Martial Empire. The arrival of the evil spirit world's ninth origin poses a deadly threat to us. Now, the only way for us to survive is if we stick together. Otherwise, this place will be our grave. Upon hearing this, everyone wore a solemn expression, especially the Qi Yen Demon Master. He did not expect that Yi Chen would dare to stand up and plan for everyone at this time. A mere true immortal could still think so clearly under such circumstances and make the correct judgment. What a godly person! Yi Chen is right. Never before had the Qi Yen Demon Master supported Yi Chen's suggestion on the spot. This made the experts from the Primordial Immortal Empire fall into deep thought. They looked at each other. In the end, Venerable Thundercloud and Venerable Fiery Dragon still looked at Venerable Ling Yu, because she was the true leader of this operation. "Senior brother Ling Yu, what do you think?" the two asked. You all felt it, right? That lawless, powerful dark energy. Yes, we can feel it. Do we still have a way out? Before reinforcements from the Primordial Immortal Empire arrive, we can only act according to Yi Chen's suggestion. Yes. The two nodded. In the end, the Primordial Immortal Empire also supported Yi Chen. Thank you for your support. Yi Chen gave them a slight nod, and then turned to look at the evil Uncle Lord. However, the evil Uncle Lord had a cold, bizarre smile on his face, as if he didn't care about the combined might of these experts. That was proof that, in his mind, the ninth origin and his evil spirit army were more than enough to crush everyone else present. Ha ha ha, you useless fools, you still want to rely on an alliance to fight the evil spirits? But you can't imagine how powerful the source of the evil spirits is. It's not something you can understand. It's a power that can destroy heaven and earth, turning your bones into ashes. Roar, roar, roar! The evil spirit army continued to shout, coordinating with the evil Undying Lord's words. In an instant, waves of pressure fell upon the people from the other factions. They suppressed themselves. This feeling was very unpleasant, and some people could not even breathe. Everyone, if you trust me, support me in breaking through to the 6th level, and let us enter together. 6th level Buddha Pond. Hearing this, even a super powerhouse like the Fire Dragon Sage was shocked. Just the internal pressure of the 6th level Buddha Pond could put them in a difficult situation. Yi Chen's words were really arrogant, but did they have any other choice? Yi Chen said coldly, "When the 9th origin finds this place, we won't stand a chance. Do you still want to retreat now?" The experts' eyes were heavy, and they were covered in cold sweat. Under such circumstances, no matter how strong one was, they would be in a dilemma. Besides believing in Yi Chen, what else could they do? I believe in Yi Chen. It was the Qi Yen Demon Lord who was the first to jump out and support Yi Chen. His thoughts were simple: protect the Red Demon Army. Otherwise, everything would be for naught. Following that, he issued an order. All the Red Demon Army went to the 5th level Buddha Pond and awaited orders. They stopped absorbing the heavenly Tao mark. This decision made the Primordial Immortal World powerhouses feel pressured. Now, they were waiting for the Cold Moon Sage's orders. "Senior brother Cold Moon, do as Yi Chen says." Yes. As expected, the Cold Moon Sage made her decision. Instantly, Yi Chen's team, the Primordial Immortal World Army, and the Demon Martial World Army all gathered together to fight against the Evil Spirit Army. Ha ha, you're all asking for death. The evil overlord flew up and chanted a spell. All the Evil Spirit Army in the other Buddha Ponds and the outside world gathered together and surrounded them. In terms of numbers, the Evil Spirit Army had an absolute advantage. Now that they had the 9th origin as their backer, they had nothing to fear. I advise you to hand over Yi Chen, then kneel and surrender. This is your only chance. Otherwise, you'll be killed without mercy." The evil overlord's tone was domineering, leaving no room for negotiation. "Ha ha, kneel and surrender? Evil overlord, what do you take us for? How laughable!" Facing the evil overlord's domineering threat, the cold moon sage no longer remained silent. She stepped forward to refute him. This caused the evil overlord's eyes to explode with endless killing intent. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, a loud explosion rang out again. The Ninth Origin's warship was very close to Buddha Emperor Peak. "What are you still thinking? Cooperate with me." "Alright." Everyone agreed. There were no factions or factions now. They were completely cooperating with Yi Chen. Yi Chen was the only leader. Chapter 2232. Yi Chen walked toward the level 6 technique. He had already made up his mind. As soon as he entered the level 6 technique, he would use the level 5 heavenly seal to form a barrier that separated them from the evil spirit army. Before that, he had to activate the level 6 technique. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, dark energy filled the sky and completely sealed off the path ahead of them. The combatants turned around and saw the evil overlord hovering in the air. As expected, he would not let them enter the level 6 technique easily. He did not care if Yi Chen activated the technique or not. Before he did, he would stop him. Yi Chen had the Qi reservoir, heavenly Tao energy, and various other divine powers. They were all precious treasures. Letting him leave just like that would be the greatest failure. "If you want to enter the level 6 technique, I think it's better for you to stay here." The evil lord smirked coldly as he unleashed his demonic energy from all over his body. Streams of demonic energy turned into a strange forest that extended towards the crowd. Eyes, claws, and fangs grew on the trunks of these trees, frantically showing off to the crowd. Many cultivators were scared half to death just by looking at these strange trees, not to mention that these trees had even more powerful technique. Evil strange trees. The evil overlord roared. The strange trees uprooted from the ground and charged toward the crowd. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Soon, the primordial immortal world and demon martial world warriors were attacked by the strange trees. Those who were caught by the trees had their bones shattered and blood gushed out. It was a tragic sight. Under the attack of the strange tree army, the primordial immortal world and demon martial world cultivators suffered heavy losses. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers died, and blood flowed like a river. Facing such a scene, the crowd was not in the mood to continue fighting. The Ninth Origin's fleet was not far away. Staying here and fighting would be suicide. Everyone looked at Yi Chen. "Stop them!" "Alright." The fiery dragon sage flew out, waving his hand. Flames burned the sky. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The raging flames of immortal energy turned into countless swords, covering the sky and covering the earth. Such blazing swords could annihilate an army of 1,000. In the blink of an eye, tens of thousands of strange trees were turned into ashes, unable to attack again. All hail the fiery dragon sage. The people from the primordial immortal empire were very proud to see this scene, and started to brag wildly about the fire dragon venerable. Yi Chen, on the other hand, focused on the level 6 technique before him. In the rank 5 Buddha pond, Yi Chen was the only one who had a complete understanding of the rank 5 heavenly Tao. Now was the time to use it. Heavenly Spirit Buddha Eye. Yi Chen activated the heavenly spirited Buddha's eye and looked at the cultivation method before him with the help of the spiritual convergence power. In the Buddha eye, there was an ocean of primal chaos. Not only were there rank 5 heavenly Taos floating in the ocean, there were even rank 1, 2, 3, and 4 heavenly Taos. This was a grand gathering of primal chaos. It could be seen that the difficulty of deciphering this technique was much higher than the previous rank 5 technique. Yi Chen's eyes narrowed. For the first time, he was serious. Previously, when he was cracking the 5th level technique, he was even joking around. He was not serious at all and easily broke through the barrier. However, it was different this time. In the face of life and death, under pressure, Yi Chen needed to unleash more of his potential. When the Flame Qi Demon Master and the others saw Yi Chen's expression, their hearts sank. Their lives were in Yi Chen's hands, so their anxiety was no less than Yi Chen's. Sigh, can this kid really do it? Look at him now, it doesn't look good. Venerable Master Lei Yun said. We can only trust him now. There's no other way. Venerable Master Ling Yu said. The Flame Qi Demon Master smiled. We've already fallen out with the evil spirit world. Only by resisting the evil overlord and the Tianqi evil lord and buying time for Yi Chen can we have a chance of survival. There's no need to worry about his success or failure because it's meaningless. Sigh. The Demon Master's words made everyone feel helpless. They turned to watch the battle between the Venerable Master Fiery Dragon and the evil overlord. Under the bombardment of the Venerable Master Fiery Dragon's flaming sword, countless strange trees were burned to ashes. At this moment there were very few strange trees on the battlefield, and they could not attack on a large scale. This made the evil overlord very angry. Venerable Master Fiery Dragon, how dare you treat my strange tree army like this? Today, I'll show you the power of the evil spirits. Ha ha ha, with just you. The Venerable Master Fiery Dragon showed a look of disdain. This made the evil overlord furious. The evil overlord's eyes were fierce. They bulged out of his eye sockets and turned into two huge meatballs, appearing in the sky. Evil Eye Kill Order O Compound Eye Death Ray. On the two meatballs, countless small eyeballs appeared. In these small eyeballs, black dots appeared. The black dots condensed and filled the small eyeballs, turning them black. This was the completion of the charging state. Kill. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Countless compound eye death rays attacked the demon martial world and the primordial immortal world's army. This was a super strong attack that could not be avoided. This was the most tragic annihilation of an army. Even the Venerable Master Fiery Dragon was shocked when he saw this. How could he have expected the evil overlord to have such a killing move? The powerhouses were shocked. Obviously, they had greatly underestimated the evil overlord's strength. Ha ha ha! Amidst the evil overlord's maniacal laughter, close to 1,000,000 demon martial world and primordial immortal world's army were annihilated on the spot. This killing efficiency drove the Qi Yen Demon Master and the Venerable Master Fiery Dragon into a frenzy. They glared at the evil overlord with bloodshot eyes, wanting to tear him apart. But they could not stop it. The compound eye death ray's attack range and impact were too strong. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Endless blood flowed on the ground. This was a place more terrifying than hell. If you don't surrender, then you'll all be annihilated. The evil overlord issued another threatening order, demanding that the three major forces surrender. Under the intense pressure of death, Yi Chen knew very well that the situation on the battlefield was collapsing even though he was not observing. He had expended a great deal of effort to simplify the chaos technique before him into a formation barrier with 108 heavenly path route. However, 108 heavenly Dao paths still intersected and merged. The level of complexity was still hellish. Yi Chen, what are you waiting for? The Venerable Master Lei Yun scolded Yi Chen. Yi Chen did not respond and continued with his own actions. He could not change his steps because of anything else. Otherwise, all his previous efforts would be wasted. Don't disturb Master from breaking the formation. Yi Wushuang suddenly appeared before the Venerable Master Lei Yun, blocking his movements. Be ****, get out of my way. The primordial immortal world's losses were too great. The Venerable Master Lei Yun seemed to have lost his mind and wanted to take revenge on Yi Chen. However, Yi Wushuang blocked him forcefully and did not back down. Venerable Master Lei Yun, if you want to cause trouble, you'll have to get through me first. Ha ha, great, great. The Venerable Master Lei Yun's murderous aura was awe-inspiring. He was like a furious yellow tiger as he attacked forcefully. Chapter 2233. Take this. Sage Lei Yun released the thundercloud sword. Sword energy flowed in the air as the power of lightning hovered in the sky. Swordsman? You're not worthy. Yi Wushuang's eyes were cold when he saw his opponent attack. The Heavenly Emperor's sword gleam shot out. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The Heavenly Emperor's sword combined with the rank 3 Heaven Dao had surpassed true immortal. Useless. Sage Lei Yun waved the Thundercloud sword in his hand and released a beginner-level rank 4 Heaven Dao. A powerful sword aura pressed down at that moment. Yi Wushuang felt immense pressure, but for Yi Chen's safety, he would never retreat. Yi Wushuang struggled as he activated the Heavenly Emperor's sword. Damn it! The Patriarch was enraged. He activated the Underworld Sword Qi and opened hell. Endless wraiths were released, surrounding Sage Lei Yun and limiting his sword force. As the wraiths ate the sword Qi, Sage Lei Yun's sword force dropped. As time went by, it was getting worse. How dare you! At that moment, a cold shout shocked Sage Lei Yun. He turned his head and saw Sage Ling Yu. Senior brother Ling Yu. You're still thinking about infighting at a time like this. How stupid! Yes. Sage Lei Yun could only yield to Sage Ling Yu and retracted his sword Qi. Meanwhile, Wu Shuang and the Patriarch landed where they were. Taking advantage of the battle between Sage Fire Dragon and the Evil Lord, Yi Chen continued to crack the rank 6 method before him. Although rank 6 methods were far more difficult than other methods, Yi Chen was not only cracking them, but it was also a great cultivation opportunity. If he could crack the rank 6 method, he would have complete control over the rank 5 Heaven Dao. 7-star life, Heavenly Spirit 9 accumulations. Yi Chen activated all of the Heavenly Spirit Buddha's 9 accumulations in the critical situation. His foundation sword, and he broke through to mysterious immortal. Kill. Immortal slaying flying dagger, Heavenly Emperor's sword. The combination of saber and sword was unparalleled. Instantly, more than 2/3 of the entire level 6 technique's formation diagram was shattered. As a result, the amount of calculation was greatly reduced. Yi Chen relied on the superb calculation ability of the ancient god power and the 108 basic Heavenly Dao imprints to instantly find the source of the formation. Dragon Fong Fist, 9 Dragons Restoration. In front of Yi Chen, a majestic dragon Qi gathered. The 9 dragons' power converged into the most lethal punch and blasted toward the core of the 6th level cultivation method. Boom! With a shocking explosion, the 6th tier technique shattered in the air, and countless Heavenly Dao imprints burst out from the technique, floating in midair. Swallow! Roar! The Heavenly Serpent roared and the Black Tortoise roared. All of the Heavenly Dao imprints were absorbed by Yi Chen. The entire space fell into silence again. Yi Chen shouted at everyone, "Leave! Da! Whether it was the demon tribe or the immortal tribe, they all followed Yi Chen into the 6th stage technique. No. Seeing Yi Chen leave with so many powerhouses, the evil overlord was enraged. He had to make them stay, otherwise, everything else would be for naught. Evil Lord Tianqi. All right. Seeing the look in the Evil Lord's eyes, the Heaven Scarlet Evil Lord moved at the same time. The two of them released their ultimate evil powers, causing the sky to darken. The evil powers were like a flood that swallowed the 9 heavens. ZZZ. The compound eye death ray attacked endlessly and the dark energy sword Qi was released endlessly. It wanted to cut off the path of Yi Chen and the others to the 6th level. Such a mighty power instantly put everyone in danger. What are you waiting for? Yi Chen looked coldly at the powerhouses like Ling Yu and the others. All right, let's attack together, Ling Yu said. Then, Yi Chen, Ling Yu, Fire Dragon, Lei Yun, and the Qi Yen Demon Lord joined forces and released a powerful attack, instantly cutting off the Evil Lord Tianqi and the Evil Lord's attack. Go! Everyone flew into the 6th level technique. Behind them, The compound eye death ray and the dark energy sword Qi chased closely. However, Yi Chen and the others entered the 6th level technique, and the technique instantly closed. Boom, boom, boom. Boundless evil energy bombarded the technique, causing it to waver. It was on the verge of destruction. 8 gates of divinity. 5th level heavenly Tao seal. At the most critical moment, naturally, only the strongest person would make a move. Yi Chen released the super-powerful 5th level heavenly Tao and combined it with the remnants of the formation, instantly locking down the entire 6th level technique, blocking the attacks of the 2 evil spirit. Boom, boom, boom. Although the outside world was still filled with thunder and explosions, within the 6th level technique, everyone would not be hurt. It could be said that they had escaped. Damn it! Within the 5th level heavenly Tao, no matter how unwilling the evil Lord Tianqi and the evil Lord Tianqi were, they could not stop Yi Chen and the others. The evil Lord's anger could not be appeased, but there was nothing he could do. At this time, the sky was covered with evil power. The huge battleship entered the domain. It was the 9th origin. Evil Lord Tianqi. Here. The 2 quickly bowed to the combatants in the sky. Have you found the person with the 9 skandhas? 9th origin. Yi Chen has entered the 6th level heavenly Tao realm. What? A cold expression appeared on the 9th origin's face. Instantly, the evil Paragon Lord and the Heaven Qi Lord felt immense pressure weighing down on them, and their legs began to wobble. They had expected this to happen, as they had not been able to capture Yi Chen, and had even let the primordial Immortal Empire and Devil Martial Empire escape. Useless! The 9th origin was angry, and the world shook. The vast evil power made the evil Lord and the evil Lord Tianqi float in the air, and they were in unbearable pain. In the Xie Ling Ling clan, only the strongest had access to resources and opportunities for survival. That was the law of the evil spirit. Now, the 2 of them were so weak that they had allowed such an important person to escape. It was a serious crime. However, the 9th origin wasn't interested in punishing them. Instead, he looked down at the Buddhapons below. So, it's a heavenly Tao mark. What a delicacy! With that, the 9th origin flew into the 5th level Buddhapon. Instantly, countless heavenly Tao marks began to rise up and swirl around him. The evil Lord and the evil Lord Tianqi were completely stunned. They had cultivated the 5th level heavenly Tao, and they had spent a great deal of time and suffering. But now, the 9th origin had simply entered the Buddha pond, and the heavenly Tao marks had automatically risen up. They had only ever seen such talent on Yi Chen. Ha ha! Excellent! Excellent! Everyone get into the Buddha pond and cultivate the heavenly Tao mark. After that, we'll hunt them down. Yes, sir. The evil lords that the 9th origin had brought along all smiled in satisfaction. Within the level 6 technique, Yi Chen and the others had already seen the existence of the level 6 Buddha pond. However, since the Buddha pond was unknown, the combatants did not act rashly. Instead, they looked at Yi Chen, hoping that he would test the strength of the Buddha pond. Yi Chen smiled coldly. These people's greed and cautiousness had given him the perfect opportunity. The 6th level Buddha ponds contained powerful heavenly Tao marks, and now he would choose one. Chapter 2234. Yi Chen chose a Buddha pond based on his senses. Among them, the grade 6 Heaven Tao was the purest. It even made Yi Chen feel a new power. It was great that no one was fighting for it. Yi Chen sensed the turbulence of the water around him as he flew in. The seemingly shallow water was completely different in Yi Chen's eyes compared to the others. The waves crashed onto the shore, the waves missed, and the majestic waves devoured all living beings. How could this be? This was the first time Yi Chen had felt so much pressure. In the blink of an eye, beads of sweat rolled down Yi Chen's forehead. Soon, Sage Ling Yu and the other powerhouses noticed the problem. They became more cautious. If even Yi Chen felt pressured, it would be dangerous for them too. Yi Chen! Venerable Ling Yu shouted. However, Yi Chen did not respond. Yi Chen's expression froze as if it was no longer changing. It was as if he had entered another time and space. Such a shocking change shocked Venerable Ling Yu and the other powerhouses. They released their powers one after another, trying to sense Yi Chen's current state, but all of them failed. The reason being their sensing abilities were blocked by the water vapor in the Buddha pond before they could touch Yi Chen. The seemingly weak water vapor contained a powerful power of law. It was the power of Grade 6 Heaven Dao. The Grade 6 Heaven Dao is so powerful. I'm afraid Yi Chen is in danger. Venerable Fire Dragon said. What? The Patriarch of Hell and the rest from Yi Chen's organization looked worried. However, Yi Wushuang's expression was determined because he had a heavenly connection with Yi Chen. At this moment they were so close. Even with the Grade 6 Heavenly Dao's isolation, he could sense that although Yi Chen was under great pressure, his life was not in danger. It was more like an extreme trial. Patriarch, everyone, stay calm. Yi Wushuang said to everyone. Yes. Everyone nodded. Naturally, what Yi Wushuang said made sense. Venerable Ling Yu frowned slightly, seeing that Yi Wushuang and the rest were no longer trembling. If they could not find out what was going on, they would not dare to enter the pond. Yi Wushuang, how's Yi Chen now? Venerable Ling Yu suddenly asked. How would I know? Yi Wushuang replied. Ha ha ha, I could tell that you have a close relationship with Yi Chen. Judging from your performance earlier, you seem to know Yi Chen's current situation very well. Answer me now. At that moment, a powerful pressure came. Yi Wushuang felt his body shaking, and he could not fight it. Taoist Master Ling Yu, what are you doing? The old ancestor shouted. However, Venerable Ling Yu's strength was unfathomable. The two of them were not her match at all and were at a disadvantage. Speak. At this moment, Venerable Thundercloud also stepped forward and increased the pressure. As a result, the situation at the scene changed drastically. Patriarch. Yi Chen's subordinates stepped forward one after another, wanting to support the Patriarch of Hell. However, the Patriarch of Hell stopped them and did not allow them to attack. Sage Ling Yu, Great Emperor Yi Chen, has just entered the Buddha pool to scout for you. Now, he's attacking us. Isn't that too much? Old Ancestor Yellow Spring said coldly. Ha ha ha, we, the Primordial Immortal Empire, need you to interfere? Do as Senior Apprentice Brother says at once. Otherwise, die. Taoist Thundercloud said furiously. Right at this moment, a demonic wind rolled over, suppressing the momentum of the thunderclouds. Da. A person walked to the front and said with a smile, Ha, Taoist Master Lei Yun, how mighty. Everyone looked over. It was actually the Qi Yen Devil Lord. At this moment, his injuries had clearly recovered, and his aura was extremely strong. Ha ha ha, Qi Yen Devil Lord, you were severely injured by Yi Chen. Now you're standing up for his subordinate. Is there something wrong with your brain? Taoist Master Lei Yun mocked. I'm just stating the facts. What's wrong with that? Are you an idiot? Taoist Master Lei Yun's anger had not subsided. Now, he wanted to fight, and the Qi Yen Devil Lord had given him this opportunity. Taoist Master Ling Yu frowned slightly, seemingly thinking about something. She said, All right, let's see how Yi Chen is doing. With that, she turned to look at Yi Chen. At this moment, Yi Chen's expression was calm, no longer as pressured as before. In this case, it was clear that as long as he could withstand the pressure, he would be able to successfully comprehend Level 6 Heavenly Dao. This was what Taoist Master Ling Yu believed. The other combatants' judgment was similar to hers. Since Yi Chen was fine, there was no need to ask any more questions. They all went to the Buddha pool. I didn't think that the Qi Yen Devil Lord would help us. Yes, I'm confused. Many combatants looked doubtful, but the Patriarch saw through it at a glance. Humph, why would this old man help us? He just doesn't want the balance of power. Balance of power. That's right. Right now we're in a three-way struggle, and we're still in a state of balance. Once the primordial immortal world dominates, the magic martial world will be destroyed. This is the reason. I see. Everyone nodded slightly, suddenly enlightened. At this moment, in the level 6 Buddha pool, Yi Chen's Buddha's light broke through the waves. He was already standing on the waves, looking for the heavenly Tao. Tempestuous waves are just SOSO. Yi Chen looked down at the entire sea from above. He saw a peak at a glance. It was like a heaven-supporting pillar in the sea, Kunlun Peak. Let's go. A lotus appeared under Yi Chen's feet, and he flew toward the peak. Above the peak, the light of heavenly Tao flickered. Level 6 heavenly Tao was no longer an ordinary body of energy, but an evolved spirit body. Who dares disturb my peaceful cultivation? At this moment, a voice came from the peak, shaking the entire sea. Heavenly Emperor Yi Chen is here to give you a better future. How dare you? Level 6 heavenly Tao opened his eyes. Instantly the world changed. The sun and moon shone together, and the entire sea turned into a plain. A celestial silhouette descended, and it was a handsome young man in white. Seeing this young man, Yi Chen smiled and stepped forward. You'll only have a chance to break through if you come under my control. Nonsense. I've cultivated for thousands of years, and my cultivation base has reached arcane immortal. I have the chance to become a heavenly immortal. Once I break through the limit of heavenly immortal, I'll ascend to the heavenly realm and achieve supreme achievement. Do you think I'll believe you? Heavenly realm? Ha ha ha, I'm the reincarnation of the heavenly emperor. If you want to ascend to the heavenly realm, you should submit to me. Ridiculous, ridiculous. A mere human immortal dares to call himself the heavenly emperor? Is there something wrong with your brain? Today, I'll make you understand how shallow you are. Is that so? Yi Chen scoffed and stood with his hands behind his back, making a gesture of invitation. Presumptuous. Level 6 heavenly Tao frowned. Immediately, the light of heavenly Tao shrouded the entire land. Countless peaks rose from the ground, crushing toward Yi Chen. Such an aura was indeed the power of an arcane immortal. Yi Chen's expression was slightly serious. He pointed his sword finger forward and swept it. Heavenly sword shatters all directions. The heavenly emperor's sword's might rose again, sweeping through the world. The sword rushed in all directions, and the countless peaks before him were instantly shattered like tofu. Countless rocks floated in the air. Chapter 2235. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Dozens of peaks were shattered by Yi Chen's sword. The display of his powerful strength made level 6 heavenly Tao slightly raise his eyebrows. He did not expect a mere true immortal to be so capable. He was a genius. Ha ha ha, what a surprise. Someone who can stand before me is indeed extraordinary. Very well, let me see what you're capable of. Level 6 heavenly Tao knew that the person before him was extraordinary and did not dare to underestimate him. He condensed his heavenly Tao power into a long sword and pointed it at Yi Chen. Very well, that's the attitude you should have. However, you're completely naked in front of me. I've long seen through your tricks, but to you, I'm a peak that you can't surpass. I stand between heaven and earth, and I only worship you. Boast. Level 6 heavenly Tao's brows were cold. He was enraged. The heavenly Tao's sword slashed through Mount Hua. A majestic sword energy descended from the sky. It was as if the mountains and rivers were opening the sky, and the waves of the ocean were splitting. Yi Chen showed no fear in the face of such a majestic sword energy. He stood steadily in the sky, strolling leisurely between the sun and the moon. The sword was pointed at the sky, borrowing the starlight, and the 7 stars shone together. The starlight of the 7 stars was infused at the same time. Under the reflection of the 8 divine discs, the starlight multiplied and strengthened the heavenly emperor's sword. The sword gleam was like the evolution of the universe. With a loud slash, it shattered the level 6 heavenly Tao sword in the air. Kacha, kacha, kacha. Seeing that his heavenly Tao sword was easily shattered by Yi Chen, level 6 heavenly Tao was on the verge of a breakdown. He had cultivated for thousands of years. Why did this happen? The boy before him had only cultivated for 100 years. How could he be so powerful? Was this proof that he was not talented enough? I'm the incarnation of the heavenly Tao, a legacy of the Buddha Emperor. How can I lose to you? Yi Chen die. Ha ha, don't you realize how shallow you are? Before the heavenly Tao will submit to me. Yi Chen's eyes were cold. Ancient god light bloomed between his brows. Suddenly, the 36 heavenly Tao marks appeared at the same time. It was because Yi Chen understood that the level 6 heavenly Tao before him were all formed by the heavenly Tao mark. Now, he was going to completely shatter the person before him and make him understand that he could only unleash his true value in the hands of the heavenly emperor. Zap, zap, zap. As the Big Dipper 36 marks appeared, the 6th-stage heavenly path's eyes were filled with disbelief. How is this possible? No one can comprehend all the heavenly Dipper imprints. It's a pity that you missed me out. I'm the one who comprehended all the heavenly Dipper marks. I don't believe such a great undertaking is comparable to the gods. You're lying to me. I'm going to kill you. The 6th-level heavenly Tao unleashed its final counterattack, causing the entire space to tremble. Following that, a majestic Tiangang sword chi shot up into the sky. It was the strongest attack of the 6th-level heavenly Tao. Level 6 heavenly Tao, return to the heavens and sweep the world with one sword. Ha, since that's the case, then I'll let you witness the newest sword technique this emperor has comprehended from the 36 heavenly Dippers. Heavenly Dipper sword technique. Myriad swords in one. So. However, the sound of countless sword chi flying could be heard. Above Yi Chen's head, the 36 heavenly spirit marks all turned into sword chi. The 36 rays of sword chi triggered the 7 stars' light and turned into 10,000 swords. Such power instantly shocked the 9 heavens and destroyed the land. Boom! The grand explosion shook the wind and clouds within 10,000 miles, even affecting the outside world. Endless sword chi surrounded Yi Chen. The people from the magical martial world and the primordial world retreated, not daring to approach. Subsequently, all the sword chi returned to Yi Chen's body. However, everyone broke out in a cold sweat. The sword chi that Yi Chen had released earlier had exceeded what an ordinary sword technique could bear. It was a higher-level sword chi. Even those who harbored ill intentions toward Yi Chen dared not approach him at this moment. Otherwise, if they were injured by such sword chi, the consequences would be unimaginable. Great! Seeing this scene, the Patriarch of Hell and the others exclaimed. It was clear that everyone had let Yi Chen scout the way, but Yi Chen had already mastered a powerful sword technique. In the Buddha pool, Yi Chen's myriad swords in one instantly broke the strongest attack of the 6th-level heavenly Tao. All the cultivation of the 6th-level heavenly Tao was destroyed, on the verge of destruction. No. How could this be? How could I fail like this? I want to ascend to the heavenly realm and achieve supreme achievements. I've said it before. If you want to ascend, you must be in my hands. I released the 36 heavenly Dipper marks in the hope that you understand this. I don't say anything. I'm going to die here. Who said you're going to die here? What do you mean? I didn't agree. Who can take your life? Suddenly, Yi Chen waved his finger. The 36 heavenly Dipper marks in one actually turned around and rushed into the 6th-level heavenly Tao. Buzz, buzz, buzz. As the heavenly Tao's light gathered again, the 6th-level heavenly Tao was reconstructed and restored to its true form. How magical! Ha! As Yi Chen laughed, the 6th-level heavenly Tao knelt on the ground, willingly submitting. Very well. Yi Chen subdued the 6th-level heavenly Tao. He opened his eyes and flew out of the Buddha pool. At this moment, the sword qi around Yi Chen filled the sky. His powerful state was no longer what it used to be. Yi Chen's talent shocked everyone once again with such insane progress in such a short period of time. The powerhouses such as Lingyu were shocked. They dared not act rashly now, but they dared not let Yi Chen continue to develop like this. The situation was complicated and they were in a dilemma. Congratulations, great Emperor Yi. Lingyu took the initiative to congratulate him. The Patriarch and the others stared at him with disdain. However, Yi Chen smiled and nodded in acknowledgement. After all, their greatest enemy was the ninth origin from the outside world. Rumble. As expected, the ninth origin had already absorbed and refined the fifth-level heavenly Tao in the outside world, and was trying to break through to the sixth level. In this way, they were forced to join forces again in the face of a common enemy. Within the fifth-level spell realm, the ninth origin unleashed its fifth-level heavenly Tao power and continuously attacked the spell. It was already on the verge of breaking. Ha ha ha! The heavenly Tao mark really does have limitless abilities. It only took a few hours of cultivation to reach this level. Ha! Laughing maniacally, the ninth origin unleashed Tier 5 heavenly Tao combined with its own evil power, causing the highest heavens to tremble and the 10 earths to tremble. As for the Tier 6 technique seal, it was already on the verge of collapse. Everyone in the Tier 6 technique looked over at Yi Chen. Great Emperor Yi, how do we resolve this situation? The powerhouses asked. The danger before us is a danger that we all face together. You're all powerhouses who have cultivated for thousands of years. Do you really need to ask me? Yi Chen turned and walked toward the Patriarch and the others, as if he didn't care about their pleas. The Patriarch and the others simply glanced coldly at the powerhouses, then went to greet Yi Chen. Such a scene caused all the powerhouses to reveal twisted expressions. Chapter 2236. When the powerhouses saw Yi Chen leave with his words, their faces contorted. As old powerhouses, it would be too embarrassing if they could not contribute to the fight against the ninth origin. Yi Chen was their greatest hope. Normally, they would not be able to tolerate this, but now they had no choice. Yi Chen returned to his team and nodded slightly when he saw that everyone was fine. This time, he had comprehended the power of the sixth stage Buddha Pond and obtained the sixth stage Heavenly Tao Spirit. His understanding of the Heavenly Tao had reached a whole new level. Everyone, do you cultivate according to my instructions? Don't worry, Great Emperor. In a moment of life and death, no one dares to slack off. Patriarch Yuming said with a smile. That's good. The ninth origin is an extraordinary evil person. He managed to master the fifth stage Heavenly Tao in such a short time. We must leave this place. Yi Chen's eyes were solemn. Truth be told, the ninth origin's power was beyond his imagination. He did not expect it to be able to master the fifth stage Heavenly Tao in such a short time. We'll follow your orders, Great Emperor. Everyone bowed. As long as Yi Chen gave the order, they would face death with equanimity. Each powerhouse firmly believed that Yi Chen was their only hope of survival. This was the will of the people. Yi Chen looked at the sixth stage technique seal. It was on the verge of collapse, but activating a seventh stage technique was easier said than done. In fact, Huang Xiaolong had secretly studied the seventh order Dharma Gate, but he did not manage to see the complete basic rune structure. Instead, what he saw were all kinds of sound fragments, which was very strange. The arrangement of these fragments was even more chaotic, to the point that even with the blessed Buddha's spiritual eye, he could not see them clearly. It seemed that this technique could not be activated by relying on 108 basic seals. This was the main reason why Yi Chen did not care about the powerhouse's insistence. Rumble. The powerful sound of impact came again, causing everyone to fall into a state of panic. Every time the evil energy attacked, it meant that the sixth stage technique would collapse even faster. What should we do? Hearing such a terrifying sound, everyone panicked again. The old powerhouses could not decide what to do. Yi Chen. Sage Leiyun roared again and looked at Yi Chen. Too noisy, trash. Yi Chen abruptly turned around to look at the Sage Leiyun. A cold light pierced through the Sage Leiyun's eyes and entered the depths of his soul. The icy energy caused his entire body to feel as if it had fallen into an icy wind. At that moment, his body could not move at all. This was definitely not an illusion but a real existence. He immediately realized that Yi Chen was completely different from before. His current strength was unfathomable. "You, who are you scolding?" But as a primordial immortal empire immortal, how could he retreat? He suppressed his fear and countered. All of you are a bunch of trash. You're blabbering on and on again. There's nothing you can do, right? The experts fell silent. That was the truth. They could deal with the evil Uncle Lord and wretch Lord Tianqi, but there was no way they could stand up to the ninth origin. Now all they could do was wait for Yi Chen to open the seventh Dermic Gate, and allow them to enter the seventh-tier Buddhist pond. Not only would they be able to cultivate, but they would also be able to take refuge. However, after Yi Chen's inspection, he could tell that it was impossible for them to activate the level 7 technique with their current strength. "Great Emperor Yi, it's not that we have anything against you, but if we don't think of something now, we'll just be sitting ducks," the Sage Lingyu said. Now, no one was in the mood to cultivate the 6th-tier Heavenly Tao. All they wanted was to survive. Yi Chen smirked and looked at the Sage Lingyu and the others. "To tell you the truth, we can't open the 7th Dermic Gate with our strength." Hearing this, everyone's hearts jumped, and they fell into despair. "How is that possible? We've spared no effort to help you, and with your extraordinary talent, can't we?" The Fire Dragon Immortal said. Now, everyone had to admit that Yi Chen was extraordinarily talented. What's the use of you? With my foundation, I can still try to open it. But now, it's not a matter of foundation. The formation has changed. It's not the Heavenly Tao mark, but the Infinite Fragment C. Fragment C. The experts were even more shocked. They could not understand how the Infinite Fragment C could forge such a powerful and perfect formation. "Great Emperor Yi, in that case, we can only wait here for death?" The Sage Lingyu spoke again. This time, her voice was clearly cold. It seemed like if Yi Chen did not give a reasonable answer, things would become more complicated. Yi Chen turned around to look at the Sage Lingyu, endless murderous intent seeping out of his eyes. Clearly, Yi Chen would not give him face. If he wanted to threaten him, he would have to bear the wrath of the Heavenly Emperor. "I won't go so far as to wait for death." Yi Chen revealed a strange smile. His eyes were like a ghostly cold gleam coming from the abyss, making one's heart tremble. Everyone fell into it. Many cultivators felt that their bodies did not belong to them anymore. Yi Chen before them was a god. Even the Sage Lingyu felt that this brat before them completely had the right to fight heavenly immortals and true demons like them. "Great Emperor Yi, tell us what to do. We'll definitely cooperate," the Qi Yen Demon Master said. "It's simple. I want your cultivation base this time." "Cultivation base? What do you mean?" The experts became cautious. "You just need to show me your cultivation base. As for how I use it, that's my problem." "You!" The experts were annoyed to see such a willful person, but they dared not disobey. It was a matter of life and death. Rumble. While everyone was thinking, a loud rumble came again. This time, the entire seal had loosened and more cracks appeared. This situation was telling everyone that death was right before their eyes. "We agree," the Sage Lingyu and the Qi Yen Demon Master said almost at the same time. "Senior brother." The Sage Leiyun still had some objections but was suppressed by the Sage Lingyu. The other experts stepped out to support Yi Chen. With that, Yi Chen's goal had been achieved. "Everyone, come with me." "All right." The experts followed Yi Chen to a space in the level 6 barrier. They did not know what Yi Chen was going to do. Could this place be the level 7 technique? Of course not. This was only the weakest part of the barrier that Yi Chen had found. Yi Chen said to everyone, "Although I can't open the level 7 technique, I've found another opportunity to leave this place, which is to open a new spatial passage. This place is the weakest part of the spatial barrier. As long as I have the support of your cultivation base, I'll build it myself." "What? You want to create a new space?" The sage Huolong was shocked. Creation was the most difficult thing to do. Even heavenly immortals and true demons could do nothing about it. However, Yi Chen, a mere true immortal, wanted to create a spatial passage. Chapter 2237. The powerhouses were dubious about Yi Chen's shocking words. After all, in their eyes, only a fighter above golden immortal rank could create such a high-level ability. To them, it was a fantasy, let alone a true immortal. However, what right did they have to raise such doubts? They could only believe it. Ha ha ha, heroes indeed come from the young. Yi Chen, I believe you. Venerable Ling Yu's eyes gleamed coldly as she smiled insincerely. The other venerables got the hint and agreed. The Flame Chi Demon Master also agreed to contribute his demonic energy. This way, Yi Chen had a chance to absorb and refine a vast amount of immortal and demonic energies. Then let's begin. Yi Chen released his psionic power and sent a message to the unparalleled sword sect, the Patriarch, and the others. There were some unexpected changes, and they should act at any time. The stakes this time were high. On one hand, they would obtain the power of Venerable Ling Yu and the Flame Chi Demon Master, but at the same time, they would be exposed and fall into danger. They needed the help of the Patriarch and the others. "Don't worry, Great Emperor. We'll protect you with our lives." The Patriarch and the others replied secretly. Yi Chen had no worries and walked forward. The 8 Gates divine disk appeared behind him again, waiting for the powerhouses to release their power. Behind Yi Chen, Venerable Ling Yu, Venerable Fiery Dragon, Venerable Lei Yun, and the Flame Chi Demon Master gathered, channeling their divine techniques, ready to contribute their power. In front, Yi Chen channeled the power of the disk. Instantly, the scene of the 8 Gates opening appeared in midair. "Release your pure energy and enter the 8 Gates. I'll use it myself." "Alright." The 4 powerhouses agreed and released their power. The 8 Gates divine disk sensed the surge of energy and spun rapidly. The energy was preliminarily appraised by the 8 Gates and transported into Yi Chen's ancient god space. Such a vast torrent of energy of different attributes would cause an ordinary true immortal to suffer from schizophrenia and their meridians to explode. However, Yi Chen had the foundation of demonic energy and immortal energy. Through the ancient god space, he could naturally separate them. In the ancient god space, Yi Chen's primordial spirit separated the ancient god's celestial emperor and demon martial emperor clones and began channeling these 2 powers into the designated positions. With the continuous infusion of immortal and demonic energies, the foundation of Yi Chen's immortal demon dual physique was raised. With a cold shout, Yi Chen gathered the energy in the ancient god space and began to condense it into a ball. At the same time, Yi Chen looked ahead. The 2-star ancient god's strongest creation law that he had obtained from the Pangu Godhead was continuously injected into his mind. Pangu Godhead, creation. He circulated the ancient god's law of creation, encompassing all things and guiding the universe. Instantly, the dual immortal and demonic powers went berserk and merged into Pangu's law of creation. Pangu's shadow appeared behind Yi Chen. Such a shocking phenomenon instantly shocked the 4 experts. They stared blankly at the phenomenon in front of them, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. Before the Pangu Godhead, they were nothing more than weeds, as lowly as ants. "Ignorant mortals, show me your strength." Pangu's deep and powerful voice instantly shocked the hearts of the 4 powerful warriors, forcing them to release their energy without stopping. As for the other fighters from the demon martial world and the primordial immortal world, they were already kneeling on the ground, worshipping Pangu. They no longer had any will to resist. This was the overwhelming power of the Pangu godhead. Even heavenly immortals and true devils had to bow their heads. Yi Chen's primordial spirit channeled the spirit manipulation scripture, controlling the two clones of the ancient god Celestial Emperor and the demon martial emperor. He forcefully pushed the dual immortal and demonic powers into the Pangu godhead. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. In front of Yi Chen, the grand Pangu divine seals formed one by one. All he could see was the great Tao of heaven and earth. Supreme of heaven and earth, creation of all things. Using the law of creation, Pangu pushed the divine seals in front of him with both hands, moving them toward the designated space. Rumble! The grand divine seals were unstoppable. They forcefully grew and shattered the void. The void continued to shatter as the divine seals crushed the power of space, distorting countless alternate spaces. A new passage really appeared in front of everyone. This passage continued to complete itself and extended into the distance. Seeing this scene, the four experts were stunned. This kid really succeeded. The law of creation. What a noble power of law. How could he possibly control it? Who is he? Is he really the reincarnation of Tian Shengli? At this moment, the four experts' admiration for Yi Chen was at its highest level. Part of it was because of Yi Chen's shocking talent, but more importantly, because of the Pangu godhead. Their psyche had been suppressed, and they had lost their sense of self. Celestial Emperor Yi Chen. All hail the mighty gods. As for the other cultivators, they constantly called out Yi Chen's name and kowtowed to him, providing him with immense fortune. Only the Patriarch, Wu Shuang, and the Netherworld Patriarch were free from Yi Chen's psyche suppression, and could still watch. The Patriarch of Hell's face was filled with shock and pride. From the first moment he followed Yi Chen, he knew that Yi Chen would definitely create a great cause that was unparalleled throughout the ages. However, he did not expect that he would still underestimate Yi Chen. Great Emperor Yi is truly an invincible god, the Patriarch said in a trembling voice. At this moment, the grand divine seals continued to batter the void, and the passage gradually took shape. At the same time, the sixth stage seal, under the continuous attack of the ninth origin, was unable to reform, and began to fall apart. Ha ha ha! The ninth origin's heart-stirring laughter rang out, and all of the cultivators fell into a state of terror. Continue sending, Yi Chen ordered. The voice of Pangu intimidated the four experts, who could no longer stop themselves. They were now under the complete control of the Pangu godhood, and could no longer control themselves. Yi Chen's endless absorption of the four experts' internal energy had reached the final stage. Ultimate, immortal, and demonic dual powers. With the foundation of the ultimate, immortal, and demonic dual powers, Yi Chen pushed the Pangu divine seal forward. The power of creation automatically filled the entire passage, and Yi Chen no longer needed to circulate it. Rumble! Rumbling sounds could be heard as space shattered and reformed. All of this was under the control of the Pangu divine seal of creation. Yi Chen returned to his original self, and as he sensed the foundation of the ultimate immortal and demonic dual powers, he smiled. Kacha, kacha, kacha! The sixth stage seal was completely broken, and the ninth origin led the evil spirit army. Ha ha ha! Where's Yi Chen? The first person the ninth origin sought out after breaking through to the sixth stage was the genius Yi Chen. I'm here, ninth origin. Would you like to pay your respects? Yi Chen called out with a cold smile. What? The ninth origin's eyes were bloodshot, and evil energy surged. Next to it, the evil Uncle Lord and the Heaven Chi Lord looked on in shock. They knew that Yi Chen was arrogant, but never could they have imagined that he would dare to challenge the ninth origin in such a humiliating manner. Damn it! The ninth origin roared, causing the entire area to shake violently. Countless rocks and rubble were sent flying in all directions. Chapter 2238. The ninth origin was infuriated by Yi Chen's mockery. As a source rank expert, no one dared to be arrogant in front of him. Die! The ninth origin's eyes glowed with a blood-red light. Suddenly, the ground began to crack, and countless arms spewing evil flames shot toward Yi Chen. He wanted to kill Yi Chen. Ha! Petty tricks! The ninth origin's powerful attack could kill a peak mystic immortal in a single blow. This was the evil slaughter of wrath. However, Yi Chen smirked and did not care at all. Behind Yi Chen, a towering tree appeared. Countless branches extended toward the surrounding land. The cracked ground was filled by these branches. Many of the evil firearms were sealed by the tree before they could even emerge from the ground. Yi Chen had used the power of the origin of darkness to create this tree. It was the tree of darkness. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Black and gold glaze flowed out of the branches, making them incomparably tough and indestructible. Even the ninth origin was shaken by the power of the sealing mark. Never could he have imagined that the young man in front of him had grown to such a level. How could a mere true immortal of the humankind possibly stand up to an origin-level expert like him? Ha ha ha, the ninth origin, one of the most powerful evil spirit experts, is this all you amount to? Yi Chen stood in front of the tunnel he had created, laughing evilly at the ninth origin. The ninth origin was bursting with excitement. All of its attention was focused on Yi Chen, so much so that it automatically blocked out the tunnel behind him. The Lord of Tianqi noticed that Yi Chen was only drawing attention to himself. Everyone from the world of martial magic, the primordial immortal empire, and Yi Chen's forces had all entered the tunnel. Clearly, they were escaping under Yi Chen's cover. Lord Ninth Origin, get out of my way! The Lord of Tianqi was about to step forward and say something, but was instantly pushed back by the ninth origin's immense pressure. They were not on the same level at all. The Lord of Tianqi didn't dare to say another word. The evil undying Lord was tactful enough not to say anything. After all, their ultimate goal was still Yi Chen. As long as Yi Chen was here, anything could be discussed. Yi Chen, the source will tear you to pieces and take all of your power. Is that so? Then let me see how laughable your foolish thoughts are. Ah! The ninth origin roared in rage, and the wicked flame arm which had been sealed beneath the ground suddenly began to move violently, forcibly breaking Yi Chen's darkness seal. Yi Chen merely smiled lightly in the face of such a powerful riot. He did not panic at all. His goal was very clear, and that was to delay the ninth origin's movements, and tie it down so that the patriarchs and the others could leave. Therefore, it didn't matter how powerful the ninth origin was, as long as he could delay it, it was enough. Kacha, kacha, kacha! The ground cracked and the seal shattered. Countless evil flaming arms emerged from the ground and stretched toward Yi Chen, trying to kill him. Burning heaven-earth melting hand. At this moment Yi Chen waved his arm. Immediately, the might of an ancient god erupted. Mystical fire burned the sky and lava split the ground. A huge palm print that seemed to cover the sky descended and completely suppressed the evil fire arm. Boom! The massive energy struck directly, and the countless evil fire arms were unable to resist the massive palm imprint, and they all crumbled. What? The ninth origin was shocked yet again. Yi Chen's foundation was even stronger than a peak mystic immortal's. This was the biggest difference between cultivation base and foundation the ninth origin had ever seen among a human cultivator. Not bad, kid. You've got some background. Ah. Ninth origin, I'll let you have the sixth stage Buddha pond. Farewell. Yi Chen laughed loudly, his voice shaking heaven and earth for thousands of kilometers. Boundless chaos pierced through the air, slamming into the evil spirit army. Boom! 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 Space exploded, and countless evil spirit warriors were shattered, their meridians redirected, and they died on the spot. As for Yi Chen, he flew toward the tunnel. What? At this point, the ninth origin finally understood Yi Chen's true intentions. It also noticed the powerful spatial energy, and was instantly enraged. Don't even think about escaping. The ninth origin unleashed its ultimate evil power, which transformed into a towering demonic pillar that rose up from the ground in an attempt to destroy the spatial passageway. Yi Chen's attention was immediately drawn to the demonic pillar, and he knew that if he allowed it to slam into the spatial passageway, the passageway would collapse. Heavenly Emperor's Sword. Ancient Celestial Emperor. Heavenly Emperor Medallion. Heavenly Sword Destruction. A long howl filled the air as 9 dragons appeared, transforming into a divine dragon's celestial sword. It slashed down, piercing through the 9 layers of heaven and destroying tens of thousands of spells. The massive demonic pillar was sliced in half, sending countless pieces of rubble flying everywhere before crashing to the ground. Ah! Farewell, ninth origin! Yi Chen laughed disdainfully, then flew toward the spatial tunnel. You! Detestable! The ninth origin was in agony, but so what? After flying into the spatial tunnel, he unleashed a powerful palm strike, which destroyed the entire tunnel. Then, he used spatial energy to catch up to the others. Within the 6th-stage Buddha Pond Dharma realm, the ninth origin tried to force the tunnel open, but failed. How dare you not warn me of the existence of the spatial tunnel? The ninth origin roared, turning to look at the others. We waited. The evil lord of the heavenly malevolence wanted to respond, but didn't say anything in the end. He knew the ninth origin's personality, and knew that doing so would be suicidal. The ninth origin turned to look at the 6th-stage Buddha Pond, then smiled coldly. If they're gone, then forget it. Let's enter the 6th-stage Buddha Pond. Those who can absorb its energy, hurry! Yes, sir. Having tasted the sweetness of the 5th-stage Buddha Pond, the ninth origin was now actively entering the 6th-stage Buddha Pond to absorb the heavenly Tao mark. Having escaped with their lives, Yi Chen and the others flew out of the spatial tunnel. The outside world was the border of the last day's desert. It seems the spatial tunnel didn't deviate too much from the last day's desert. Yi Chen said. The experts from the demon martial world and the primordial immortal world reorganized themselves, then looked around. The endless desert was right in front of them, and there seemed to be no way forward. Yi Chen, where do we go now? Adept Thundercloud asked. This is the last day's desert. What's the point of asking me? Let's just split up. Yi Chen replied coldly. Adept Thundercloud was furious, and was about to attack when Adept Lingyu stopped him. Since that's the case, let's split up. Elder Brother Lingyu. Say no more. Yes, sir. The adepts followed Adept Lingyu's orders, and led the experts from the primordial immortal world away. When they reached the demon martial world, the Qi Yen demon lord looked at Yi Chen, then left with his army. A motley crew trying to restrain me? Dream on. Devilish Nanny in the city will continue to be updated. There will be no advertisements on the site, so please bookmark and recommend it. Chapter 2239. Your Majesty, what should we do next? Patriarch Yellow Springs asked. Yi Chen looked around, his Buddha eye glowing brightly. He needed to find a way out, a way he had prepared for everyone else. After all, he still had unfinished business to attend to. Heavenly Spirit Buddhist Lamp. Using the Heavenly Spirit Buddhist Sovereign's exquisite abilities, Yi Chen used his Buddhist energy to summon the Buddhist lamp, which hung high in the air. Then, under the guidance of the Buddhist lamp, everyone saw a hidden path appearing before their eyes. Patriarch Yellow Springs said in amazement. How miraculous! You can control this Buddhist ability like it's your own arm. Amazing! Patriarch Wushuang, follow the Buddhist lamp back to the Yellow Springs, then take my Hell King's medallion and return to the underworld. What about you, Your Majesty? I have important things to do. Don't say anything else. Yes, Your Majesty. Old Ancestor Yellow Spring, Wushuang, and the others followed the Buddha lamp, starting a new journey in the endless desert. After watching everyone leave, Yi Chen turned around to look at the Buddha glow in the distance. It seems there really is another entrance to the Bodhi-Dharma realm. Smiling, Yi Chen used the Buddhist Supreme's memories to gain enlightenment, and then shot toward the Buddhist light. Back in the Sumru Buddhist realm, the ninth essence and the others were the only ones who could absorb the power of the Tier 6 Buddhist lake. Wretched Lord Tianqi and the wretched Paragon were the only ones who could absorb the power of the Tier 6 Buddhist lake. After all, they hadn't gained complete enlightenment of the Tier 5 Buddhist lakes, and therefore, the blessings from the Tier 6 Buddhist lakes were very limited. Ah! The ninth origin flew out of the Buddhist pond, surrounded by the sixth stage seal. Combined with its own evil power, it was incredibly powerful. Congratulations, exalted source! The army of evil spirits bowed and congratulated the ninth origin. The ninth origin had benefited greatly from absorbing the sixth stage heavenly Tao. It was the most powerful blessing it had ever received. How could it be willing to leave such a precious place? It looked at the barrier up ahead. Where's the seventh technique? A cold smile tugged at the ninth origin's lips as it walked toward the barrier in search of the seventh technique. Among the 9 origins, it was one of the more knowledgeable in Buddhist Dharma, which was why it was so serious about absorbing the heavenly Tao seal. Exalted Source, Yi Chen expended a lot of energy to activate the 6th stage Buddhist Dharma. I'm guessing that the 7th stage won't be easy to activate. Do we really need to find it? The evil sovereign said. To the evil supremacy, he still wanted to hunt down Yi Chen, but he had failed his mission. Moreover, with his talent, he could not absorb level 6 heavenly Tao, so how could he absorb level 7 heavenly Tao? Therefore, what he wanted was to prepare for the final arrival of the evil spirits. This was also his ultimate mission. The evil lord of the heavenly centipede also found it extremely difficult to comprehend the heavenly Tao of the 6th order. To him, the 7th order was no better than the evil lord. Hence, both of them wanted to return to the spirit realm and wait for the evil spirits to descend upon them. Trash like you. You can't absorb the 6th step of the heavenly Tao, yet you're thinking of letting the source leave this place? This, the 9th origin's words caused expressions of terror to appear on the faces of the 2 powerful evil spirit experts. In their minds, the 9th origin was not a scheming person, and had actually seen through their plans with a single glance. Evil Lord Tianqi, I order you to stay in the spiritual realm in front of you and wait for the other sources of evil spirits to descend. Evil Lord, stay here and cooperate with the source to open the level 7 technique. Yes. When Evil Lord Tianqi heard this, he was secretly delighted. Staying here would only bring him danger. This mission was perfect. After the evil Lord Tianqi left, the evil Lord became the 9th origin's interlocutor. Evil Lord, you've been confronting Yi Chen for a long time. Do you know how to open the technique? This. I don't know. What? The 9th origin's eyes widened and a cold, murderous aura descended. The evil Lord almost collapsed to the ground. This kind of pressure was practically killing him. He endured the pressure and said, back then, Yi Chen relied on the demon martial world's Qi Yen demon lord and the primordial immortal world's 3 perfected masters to open the technique using a special method. After listening to the evil lord's explanation, the 9th origin smiled slightly as if he had understood something. He walked toward the area where the level 7 technique was located, then activated the level 6 heavenly Tao and began to strengthen his evil eye technique. He wanted to clearly see where the technique was located. By relying on his strong foundation and the level 6 heavenly Tao, he could vaguely see where the level 7 technique was located. Ha ha ha, very good. The 9th origin was very happy. It was just as he had expected. By using a method similar to Yi Chen's, he could completely rely on his superior cultivation base to open a higher technique. Meanwhile, above the last day's desert, Yi Chen continued to fly, and finally saw the land of Buddhist light. Behind a huge sand dune up ahead, there was a water source. This was definitely not a mirage, but a real place. Here, Yi Chen saw the three Venerable Ones. Venerable Ones, so this is where you are. Yi Chen stepped forward and nodded to the three. The three Venerable Ones smiled in satisfaction. The first Venerable One said, "Extraordinary indeed. To be able to escape from the hands of the ninth origin, what an extraordinary person." The second and third Venerable Ones nodded in agreement. "Yi Chen, the fact that you've come to this place means that your destiny with Buddhism hasn't been severed. You really are the successor of the Buddha Emperor's destiny." "Ha, why don't you get straight to the point, Venerable Ones? I've returned this time to enter the Bodhi realm's greatest treasure trove." "Ha ha ha!" The three Venerable Ones laughed at the same time. Yi Chen really did get straight to the point. The first Venerable One said, "This is the entrance to the Bodhi realm's ninth technique. You've only reached the sixth technique after absorbing the heavenly Tao. You're so greedy. If you want to succeed in one step, what awaits you is a bottomless abyss where your body and soul will be destroyed." In an instant, waves of cold air rushed over, sending chills down one's spine. Yi Chen looked at the three Venerable Ones and noticed that their expressions changed at the same time. A powerful pressure came from their bodies, as if this was a test, or perhaps they thought that Yi Chen was being foolish and arrogant. No matter what, nothing could stop Yi Chen. He had always been a man who defied the heavens, so why should he worry about being destroyed? "All you need to do is guide me. What's the point of saying so much?" Yi Chen's forceful response shocked the three Venerable Ones. They never thought that a human immortal could be so domineering. He did not give them any face at all. Very good, very good. Just like the Buddha Emperor. Not bad, not bad. He's the one we've been waiting for. In that case, please." The three Venerable Ones stood up. Suddenly, Buddha's light shone brightly, covering the clear sky. Then, in the blink of an eye, the entire environment changed rapidly. Yi Chen was already thousands of feet underground. Yi Chen looked around and realized that the grand Buddha statue before him was extending its flower-pinching finger at him. Chapter 2240. The Buddha statue before us is the entrance to the ninth method. Before that, we have something to say. The three of them stood before Yi Chen at the same time, as if they had something important to say. "Venerable Ones, please." Yi Chen was ready to listen. The three of them nodded slightly. The first Venerable signed in. "This ninth method is completely different from the previous ones. It's a time reincarnation realm. In the ninth method, you might encounter powerful cultivators from all over the universe. They might come from a realm that you're familiar with, or they might come from a realm that you're not familiar with. Consider the dangers yourself." "Ha ha ha ha." Hearing that, Yi Chen suddenly laughed out loud as if this was exactly what he wanted. The three Venerable Ones could not understand why Yi Chen was so excited. They thought that he was being overly arrogant, but in reality, this was the training ground that Yi Chen wanted. He needed more memories from both his past and present lives. To unlock these memories, one of the most important things was to start a new journey and unlock more techniques and Dharma realms. This would allow the memory fragments that were wandering in the Tian-Yuan space to be more stimulated and return to their original selves. "Thank you, Venerable Ones. No matter how dangerous it is, I'll bear it. Is that all right?" Of course. The three Venerable Ones did not expect Yi Chen to be so straightforward. It saved them a lot of trouble. Since that was the case, they would activate it. Pay attention. The three Venerable Ones activated the Buddha's light at the same time. 3 beams of light were infused into the Buddha Emperor's flower-pinching finger. Instantly, the white light opened up the world and the majestic Buddha power gave birth to the universe. A method appeared on the Buddha Emperor's chest. It was the 9th method. Ha ha ha, Yi Chen, there are many difficulties waiting for you. Once you enter them, You'll feel ashamed of your arrogance and regret it. Yi Chen, we've helped you to this point. You're the only one left in the future. The Buddha Emperor's order has been fulfilled. We're free. With that, the three venerable ones disappeared at the same time. It was obvious that the three of them might not be true Buddhas, but people who were restrained by the Buddha Emperor. Now that they had completed the Buddha Emperor's order, they were free. Yi Chen did not care about the three venerable ones. Instead, he looked at the ninth method in front of him. His own heavenly Tao cultivation had only reached the sixth Dharma gate. Now that he had entered the ninth Dharma gate, it was dangerous in itself. At the same time, he thought about what the three venerables had said. People from all over the universe could enter this Dharma gate. This meant that when the Buddha Emperor designed this Sumeru Buddha realm, he had long wanted to conduct a trial at the extreme ends of the universe. 9 Heavens Buddha Emperor, what kind of gift have you prepared for me? I'm really curious. As he flew into the ninth technique, Yi Chen only felt that his body was as light as a feather, as if he had lost all weight. Following that, endless light assaulted him. He could not open his eyes and his body dissipated, as if he was carrying the light. Yi Chen felt that his body had disappeared. Only his consciousness was still flowing. The surrounding space was limitless, and the surrounding energy masses were constantly drifting about. This kind of feeling was too strange, and he had never experienced it before. As he wandered, all the heavenly Tao imprints he had learned before suddenly appeared in front of Yi Chen. Whether it was the 108 basic imprints or the heavenly Tao imprints from the first to the sixth, all of them appeared before his eyes, or rather, in his mind. There must be a deeper meaning behind this appearance. Yi Chen focused his entire body and began to re-examine all the imprints before him. Then, he began to combine and analyze them without limit. He had to understand a higher form of imprint combination and master it. After an unknown period of time, Yi Chen's vision suddenly turned black and he lost consciousness. When he woke up again, he found himself on the bank of a stream. The stream's water splashed against his face, and he woke up. He turned to look at his surroundings. This place was very unfamiliar, and the growth of the plants here was clearly different from the ordinary world. At a glance, Yi Chen saw that the surrounding mountains were more than 10 times taller than ordinary mountains, and the ancient trees around him were the same. This seemed to be a world of giants. Everything was so huge, and it made people feel the greatest mental pressure. Ha ha ha, such pressure, how satisfying! Yi Chen felt a surge of excitement in his heart. He struck out with his palm and attacked an ancient tree. Rumble! The majestic energy instantly destroyed the ancient tree before him, and it fell to the ground with a loud rumble. The surrounding stream water was stirred up by the ancient tree's huge body, and the water splashed 100 feet high. Roar! Suddenly, an angry roar came from the forest as if it was warning Yi Chen, "You've disturbed my life." Yi Chen looked back and did not find anything unusual. He did not care at all. Even if he really disturbed someone, so what? The path of Heavenly Emperor should be walked according to his heart. Splash! After washing up, Yi Chen followed the stream and walked toward the mountain. He had appeared here out of nowhere, and it would not be that simple. Following the guidance of his sixth sense, Yi Chen walked forward. After walking for about an hour, there was a sudden rumble. Yi Chen listened carefully, and it seemed like a great battle was going on. Is there a good show to watch? Yi Chen's face revealed an excited expression. He did not want to be the only one in such a vast space. Lotuses bloomed under his feet, and he flew up to the 9 heavens. Yi Chen saw 10,000 miles with a glance, and he saw the surrounding wilderness. 1,000 miles away, a mountain that reached the 9 heavens appeared. On top of the mountain, there were countless combatants fighting on the mountain. At a glance, countless divine weapons were hung on the mountainside, the mountain peak, and everywhere else. There were those that shone with spiritual light, those that were dim, and those that were hidden deep in the mountain. There was no end to them. The Buddha Emperor's treasury. Yi Chen immediately thought of the divine weapon treasury that the Venerable One Jie-in had mentioned. It really existed. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of energy impact was endless. What Yi Chen saw was that the combatants were dressed differently. They were not from the magic martial world or the primordial immortal world at all. This made Yi Chen even more interested. It's just like the three Venerable Ones said. Which cultivation level are these people from? In his excitement, Yi Chen came to the foot of the mountain. Thud, thud, thud. Suddenly there was a series of footsteps. A group of people came before Yi Chen. Yi Chen looked over. This group of people was aggressive, and they did not come with good intentions. One of them stared at Yi Chen coldly. His eyes were filled with murderous intent, as if Yi Chen had taken something from him. Facing such a scene, Yi Chen turned to look at the mountain and ignored them. Brat, how dare you be so arrogant after occupying my sea dragon country's territory? Damn it. Hearing this, Yi Chen's eyes turned slightly cold. Such a vast land was given by heaven and earth. How did it become someone's territory? I walk between heaven and earth, and walk the path of heaven and earth. How is this occupying? Get lost, or else. I'll kill without mercy. What? The man was instantly enraged. His eyes widened, and the blood in his body surged as a dragon roared. Chapter 2241. Kneel down and kowtow to admit your mistake. Otherwise, you'll die without a burial place. The sea dragon cultivator could tell that Yi Chen only had a true immortal cultivation base at a glance. Moreover, he came from the chaotic universe. To them, the chaotic universe was the lowest existence. This time, he wanted to show off his race's advantage to suppress Yi Chen. Is that so? However, he didn't know that he had encountered the toughest person in the universe. Such remarks would only put him in a difficult position and put him on the spot. Meanwhile, the argument between Yi Chen and the powerhouse had attracted the attention of the people from other organizations. In the ninth method, the organizations were complicated. They even came from different universes. No one could be completely sure that they were invincible. They could only observe and find out the other party's trump card to hide their own strength. Therefore, as long as there was a good show to watch, the powerhouses would automatically stop what they were doing and come to see what was going on. After getting everyone's attention, the sea dragon cultivator became even more arrogant. He thought that it was a good opportunity for him to make a name for himself, so he had to seize it. Before you die, I'll let you know who killed you. I'm the guard of the third prince of Sea Dragon, Green Lizard. You claim to be from Dragon Country, but I didn't expect you to be a lizard. I didn't expect that. Yi Chen revealed a disdainful smile when he heard the man introduce himself. The man was completely furious when he heard that. In the Sea Dragon Country, not everyone was a true dragon. Only members of the royal family or those with outstanding talents could pass the dragon gate and transform into a dragon. Those who were not talented enough or had impure bloodlines could only become a lowly dragon. As a low-level dragon, Green Lizard had always wanted to prove himself. Only then would he have a chance to stand out. Now that Yi Chen had exposed his true identity, he was naturally furious. Thud, thud, thud. At that moment, footsteps were heard. Yi Chen looked out of the corner of his eye. The person walking in front was dressed luxuriously. His dragon scale battle robe was shining with silver light. Although the aura he exuded was powerful, it was similar to Green Lizard's. It was obvious that this person was also from Sea Dragon Country and was most likely the third prince that Green Lizard mentioned. Your Royal Highness. Seeing that person, Green Lizard hurriedly bowed to him, appearing very respectful. Don't worry about me. I heard that this person wants to challenge my Sea Dragon Country guard. I'm here to see what's going on. The third prince quickly glanced at Yi Chen, and the corner of his lips curled up into a sinister smile. He had already recognized that Yi Chen was just a mere true immortal. In his opinion, with Yi Chen's cultivation base, he should not have appeared in this place. However, since he had come, he would die here. Upon hearing the third prince's words, Green Lizard immediately understood what he meant. He turned around to look at Yi Chen and revealed a bloody smile. An invisible killing intent spread from his body and kept pressuring Yi Chen. Ha ha ha, interesting. The Chaos Verse really is full of idiot. That's right. How could a minor true immortal come here? I lizard god at true, he how he is he true, I he I he. I dragon, I chin. I and. I king. I chun. For a time, the powerhouses searching for treasures on the peak began to discuss. No one was optimistic about Yi Chen. They even looked down on him and mocked him. Yi Chen had heard these words too many times. It did not affect him at all. He scanned the entire space from the corner of his eyes. The figures of the powerhouses were reflected in his eyes. Following that, the ancient god space turned on the analysis system and quickly analyzed the information that was sent into his mind. Yi Chen did not expect these people's cultivation bases. Many of these seemingly young cultivators were peak mystic immortals. There were even a considerable number of heavenly immortals. It was obvious how powerful the environment these people grew up in. Yi Chen now understood what the venerable Master Jia Yin had said. The ninth technique was indeed full of danger. If he wanted to survive, he could not rely on brute force alone. Kid, you must be scared silly. Unfortunately, you were too arrogant earlier. Now, the third prince wants me to deal with you. You'd better be on your way. It's indeed troublesome for a fly to fly around in front of me. I'll send you on your way then. How about that? Yi Chen suddenly turned to look at Green Lizard, his eyes filled with fear. At that moment, Green Lizard felt a powerful threat to his body. He even looked at the person in front of him, who had transformed into the Lord of Hell, deciding his life and death. Green Lizard kept shaking his head, trying to stay awake. This movement soon attracted the attention of the powerhouses. Those who could come here were all genius-level cultivators from various universes. They could tell at a glance that Green Lizard had been stunned by Yi Chen's psyche shock. In fact, this shock was very effective, causing Green Lizard to fall into it. Generally speaking, if one wanted to shock the other party with psyche shock, one needed to have a foundation that far surpassed the other party. Green Lizard, who was peak mystic immortal, should not be shocked by a true immortal cultivator. Many powerhouses began to re-evaluate Yi Chen. Green Lizard. A powerful voice rushed over, causing Green Lizard's entire body to tremble dozens of times. The vital energy and blood in his body surged, and he almost collapsed to the ground. He suddenly woke up. This sound wave came from the third prince of Sea Dragon Country, Long Xian. Third prince. This powerful voice not only woke Green Lizard up, but it also destroyed Yi Chen's psyche suppression. If the servant can't do it, the master can do it. You guys can do it together. Yi Chen sneered and looked at Long Xian. Long Xian's anger rose, and he was furious. As the third prince of Sea Dragon Country, he was also a person of status. He did not expect to be shouted at by a hooligan from the chaotic universe. No matter what, he would lose face. It was precisely because he wanted to save face that Long Xian would not make a move. He wanted Green Lizard to kill Yi Chen. This was the only way for him to let the lowest warrior under him defeat the arrogant person in front of him. This was the best way for him to explain to everyone. Green Lizard, kill him without mercy. Yes. After the order was given, Green Lizard revealed a violent expression. He was shocked by Yi Chen's psyche suppression. This was a great humiliation. He wanted to kill. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Green Lizard suddenly crouched on the ground with both hands as if he had turned into a four-legged animal. Then, he bent his body and rushed out at an extremely fast speed. This was Green Lizard's ultimate technique. It was no problem for him to deal with a mystic immortal, let alone a true immortal. He wanted to use the fastest and cruelest way to tear Yi Chen apart. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The ancient god's eye between Yi Chen's brows flashed. In an instant, all of Green Lizard's movements were predicted by Yi Chen. Stop. Puss. However, there was a piercing sound, and the grand sword Qi instantly pierced through the ground. Chapter 2242. The sword Qi was so fast that no one had time to observe it. When they looked at the ground, they realized that the sword Qi had pierced Green Lizard's arm. Huh! Many of the prince's guards of Sea Dragon Country exclaimed. At the same time, Long Xian and the other powerhouses were shocked. Whether it was accuracy, speed, or energy, the sword Qi that Yi Chen had unleashed earlier had definitely reached the level of a peak mystic immortal. As a prodigy of the various major forces, he still had this little bit of judgment. However, this was where the problem lay. How could a true immortal unleash sword Qi that was equivalent to the strength of a peak mystic immortal and even block Green Lizard's killing blow so accurately? Ah! Green Lizard felt terrible and was in extreme pain. Blood flowed from his arm and dyed the entire ground below him red. At this moment, Yi Chen had one foot on his back and was looking down at him. He looked up at Yi Chen. All he saw was a black shadow under the sunlight. He could not see Yi Chen's face clearly. It was a mysterious and powerful suppression. Green Lizard immediately fell into endless fear. No, impossible! Green Lizard roared. He could not believe that as a guard of the third prince, he had lost to a nobody from the chaotic universe. A country bumpkin wants to compete with this emperor? Break for me. What? Under Green Lizard's horrified gaze, Yi Chen's sword Qi turned. Green Lizard's arm was instantly cut off and flew 10 meters away. My arm! Scram! With a cold shout, Yi Chen kicked and Green Lizard flew out instantly. Not only was Green Lizard completely defeated, but the third prince of Sea Dragon Country, Long Xian, was also humiliated. His entire body was trembling, and he was in a rage. As someone from the Wildlands universe, he didn't have much of an advantage over the other universes. The only people he could bully were those from the Chaosverse. This had been a good opportunity to establish his dominance, but that idiot Green Lizard had ruined it. Haha! On the mountain peak, Long Xian heard the mocking voices from all over. These were people from other powerful universes mocking them from the Wild Universe. Your Royal Highness! Green Lizard's entire body trembled as blood flowed out. However, he didn't dare to rest. He got up and knelt before the third prince. He was very clear that he had messed things up in front of so many universe experts. This was a humiliation to the Sea Dragon Country, and he was the sinner. Green Lizard, you bastard, go to hell! Long Xian was infuriated. With a dragon roar, a dragon rushed towards Qing Shi. Spare my life. Green Lizard's eyes widened and then bulged to the limit. His entire body exploded. Blood, tendons, and bones were all destroyed by this dragon-shaped attack. What's your name? To everyone's surprise, Long Xian asked Yi Chen. Yi Chen. Ha, very good. I should thank you for getting rid of this trash for me. Now, this prince will give you a chance to achieve meteoric success. How about it? Oh! You don't have to doubt me. I want you to join my guards. This is the greatest honor for a cultivator of the chaotic universe. The third prince, Long Xian, revealed a strange smile as if he was proud of himself for being able to adapt to the situation. As long as he subdued Yi Chen, the humiliation he had suffered because of Yi Chen would disappear automatically. This was the best opportunity for Sea Dragon Country to save face. The other powerhouses looked at Yi Chen and thought to themselves, this Long Xian is indeed capable. Just when everyone thought that Yi Chen would happily become Long Xian's subordinate, Yi Chen shook his head slightly. Then, he snorted and walked directly toward the peak. Huh! The cultivators of the Sea Dragon Country's Prince's Guard were stunned. The third prince's invitation was completely ignored by Yi Chen. This humiliation was even greater than Green Lizard's failure. They were completely looked down upon. Yi Chen, the third prince, was furious. Waves of dragon energy rushed toward him. I don't have time to waste with you, Your Royal Highness. Ah! Yi Chen let out a strange laugh and then threw a punch. The same dragon-shaped power collided with the third prince's dragon energy. He was not at a disadvantage at all. Yi Chen became famous after this battle. Not only did he kill the guard of the third prince of the Sea Dragon country in the Wild Universe, but he also disobeyed the third prince's invitation and turned around to leave. This news spread quickly, making Yi Chen's name known to everyone. Yi Chen looked at the peak in front of him. There was light shining everywhere and waves of divine weapon energy rushed toward him. Taking a deep breath, Yi Chen sensed that there were all kinds of divine weapons on this peak. Whether it was demonic ability, dark ability, divine power, or immortal power, he could find a compatible energy. This made Yi Chen very excited. Fellow cultivator, you're not bad. At this moment, a voice came. Yi Chen turned around and saw a little fatty who looked very spirited. Moreover, Yi Chen sensed a familiar energy from this guy. This person seemed to come from the same universe as him. There's no need to look. I'm also from the chaotic universe. My name is Shami Tua. The little fatty introduced himself enthusiastically. Yi Chen could see this person's motive at a glance. In this environment, people from the chaotic universe were discriminated against. Moving alone was very dangerous. Now that a chaotic universe combatant had appeared in front of him, Shami Tua would certainly not give up the opportunity to find someone. Shami Tua, you'd better stay away from me. This emperor isn't someone who's easy to talk to. With that, Yi Chen left Shami Tua and walked toward the peak. This time, he came to the 9th law realm to find a suitable divine weapon for himself. Therefore, one more person by his side was one more trouble. Hey, don't be so heartless. You have to understand that in this environment, moving alone will undoubtedly result in death. We're both from the chaotic universe. You have to believe me. Yi Chen. No matter how Shami Tua kept calling from behind, Yi Chen did not look back. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Suddenly, a feeling came from a peak. Yi Chen clearly felt that this was an immortal power divine weapon. The powerful energy it emitted resonated with the immortal slaying flying dagger and the heavenly emperor sword. Thud, thud, thud. Yi Chen released his movement technique and quickly rushed in that direction. Kid, you've crossed the line. Just as Yi Chen was about to reach the destination of the sensing, a cold voice rang in his ears. Cross the line? On a divine mountain like this, obtaining a divine weapon depends on one's own ability. Is there such a thing as crossing the line? Yi Chen asked. You've crossed the line. The other party did not respond but repeated the same words. Naturally, Yi Chen knew what it meant. Ah! Yi Chen's domineering laughter reverberated in all directions, instantly attracting the attention of many combatants. They were thinking that this kid was really a newborn calf that was not afraid of tigers. He dared to provoke someone from the heavenly immortal sect. Chapter 2243. Look, this kid really knows how to cause trouble. He just angered the Long Xian of the Sea Dragon country and now, he's facing the marauding sword of the immortal sect. He must be tired of living. That's right. In the 9th law realm, preserving one's strength and acting cautiously is the way to save one's life. What an idiot. Let's see how he dies at the hands of the marauding sword. The difference between their cultivation and talent is too great. The immortal sect was a large sect from the chaos universe, and the marauding sword was the best of the younger generation in the sect. Therefore, there were no other cultivators looking for treasures within 100 feet of the marauding sword. Yi Chen's goal was to find a suitable divine weapon for himself. He did not care about who was around or what restrictions there were. It was only a matter of time before he met these people. The Chaos Universe was considered very powerful among the various universes. The Immortal sect was also ranked among the top in the Chaos universe. Among the younger generation, those who could be called geniuses were at least at the heavenly immortal stage. As the saying went, becoming a heavenly immortal within 100 years was the basic requirement of the Immortal sect for geniuses. The marauding sword had entered the ranks of heavenly immortals in the 76th year and mastered the marauding sword technique. He traveled the world and eradicated the 10 evildoers, making a name for himself. Now, he occupied a place alone. It was a symbol of his arrogance. Get lost. The marauding sword shouted and locked his cold eyes on Yi Chen. He wanted to use his power to intimidate Yi Chen and make him leave. Yi Chen's actions were different from ordinary people. In the eyes of the powerhouses, he was like a country bumpkin from the countryside who walked into the palace and faced high officials and jade palaces. It was reasonable for him to be unable to adapt. For such a person, the marauding sword thought that even if he killed him, he would not be able to prove his strength. As long as he knew what was good for him and left, it would be fine. However, he did not know that he had provoked a real god of death. In this vast world, I am the only one. No one can take away the divine weapon that I value. It does not belong to you. Yi Chen responded forcefully. His voice shook all directions. Instantly, countless powerhouses turned to look at him because his voice was too shocking, too emotional, and too domineering. To be able to say such words in front of so many universe geniuses, it could not be explained by saying that a newborn calf was not afraid of a tiger. He was really arrogant. That was what everyone was thinking. Not only did Yi Chen challenge the Longzi sword, but he also challenged all the geniuses of the various universes. Who is this kid? He simply doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. How dare you speak in such a manner in the 9th law realm? You won't be able to atone for your sins even if you die once. What an unreasonable guy. If he is not a match for the Longzi sword, I will personally kill him. The powerhouses spoke one after another, mercilessly condemning Yi Chen. Many powerhouses were eyeing Yi Chen covetously, thinking that if Yi Chen dared to run out of the range of the Longzi sword, they would attack decisively and kill him. Yi Chen's words had alarmed the powerhouses in all directions and attracted everyone's attention. This made the Longzi sword very unhappy. Originally, he wanted to draw out his territory to look for divine weapons. Now, because of Yi Chen, his territory had become the focus of everyone's attention. In such a dangerous environment, even he did not dare to say that he could control the situation. For a true immortal from the Chaosverse to ruin their plans, one could imagine how the prodigal sword was feeling right now. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, a sword gleam shot out from the marauding sword's hand. It went straight for Yi Chen's throat like a meteor. Yi Chen was shocked. He did not expect the speed of the sword chi to be so fast. It had already surpassed the level of a peak mystic immortal. This was definitely a sword attack that only a heavenly immortal could unleash. At such a close distance, with such a fast sword attack, no one could defend against it. For many powerhouses, it was the first time they had seen the marauding sword in action. This sword attack was enough to shock everyone. Using such power on a mere true immortal was like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. Everyone shook their heads, thinking that Yi Chen would die. Swoosh! A bloody mark appeared on Yi Chen's throat. Then, blood oozed out. It seemed that everything had been settled and no one could change this result. Humph, with such strength, you want to be arrogant in front of so many geniuses? How foolish! After saying that, the marauding sword walked back to the position where Yi Chen had sensed before. However, after taking 2 steps, he suddenly stopped. The powerhouses looked at the marauding sword, feeling puzzled. Yi Chen was already dead. What was he still hesitating for? At this moment, the marauding sword's face showed anger. With a point of his sword, the so-called corpse of Yi Chen suddenly fell to the ground. What appeared in front of everyone was only a wooden stake. Ah! Laughter came from the sky. Following that, the 8 gates divine disc, door of opening, opened and Yi Chen descended from it. A mere substitution technique made you think that I'm dead. It seems that this so-called universe genius is nothing more than this. You! All the geniuses looked at Yi Chen with anger. Yi Chen had challenged all the geniuses with a single sentence. After all, no one present could see that he had used the substitution technique. This itself was very suspicious. Impossible. What cultivation base do we have? How could we not see that you used a substitution technique? Yes, what sorcery did you use? It's impossible that we couldn't see it clearly. Speak clearly or die. The powerhouses wanted to know what method Yi Chen had used to fool everyone. It's very simple. When I used the space substitution technique, I also used a little hypnosis. Hypnosis. Everyone was shocked. They did not know that they had been secretly hypnotized by Yi Chen. Many of the scenes they saw, including Yi Chen's throat being stabbed, were just scenes that Yi Chen wanted them to see. The powerhouses were played like this. Those who had looked down on Yi Chen before were now amazed and ashamed. However, soon they walked out of this shame. They were all geniuses of a high-level universe. How could they admire a person with a low cultivation base from a low-level universe? This was unreasonable. You'll regret your actions. A cold voice rang out. Everyone felt a chill in the depths of their souls. Everyone knew very well that the Marauder sword would definitely explode after being played like this. Ha, then let me see your true strength. Since he had come to this place where many geniuses stood side by side, Yi Chen wanted to challenge the strongest person here and verify his strength. Whoosh! Another strike. It was so fast that it could not be blinked. It frantically attacked Yi Chen's vital point. Yi Chen's brows furrowed. The ancient god power in his body erupted, and the night demon battle armor fused with the black gold glaze to protect his body. Clang, clang, clang. Sword chi whistled. The blade was sharp and boundless sparks burst forth like meteors. Chapter 2244. Clang, clang, clang. The Marauder sword's boundlessly sharp sword energy attacked Yi Chen like a roaring dragon or a furious beast. However, when the sword energy hit Yi Chen's body was like a mountain. He did not move at all. Only sparks flew. Ah! On the peak, the powerhouses were shocked. Even if Yi Chen came from the chaotic universe, such a strong defense was definitely enough to shock the world. Many geniuses began to pay attention to Yi Chen again. Among them, there were many powerhouses from high-ranked universes. They never expected that a little immortal from the chaotic universe could be so strong. This level of defense was enough to be called a peerless genius even in a high-ranked universe. It should be known that this was the Marauder sword's ultimate divine ability. Someone could stand as still as a mountain and take it head-on. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The sword chi rampaged around Yi Chen's body. Waves of sword force caused Yi Chen's body to tremble continuously. Yi Chen was shocked by such power, but the Marauder sword was even more shocked. He stared at Yi Chen, unable to believe that his sure-kill move had been blocked in such a way. It was like an ant trying to shake a tree, unable to be shaken. Before, if there was such an analogy, the Marauder sword would definitely think that he was the tall and boundless tree and Yi Chen was the arrogant ant. However, it was the opposite. The Marauder sword's dignity was swept away in front of the powerhouses. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect the people of the Heavenly Immortal sect to be so useless. They can't even deal with a kid from the chaotic universe. It's really unbelievable. The lowest genius of the Heavenly Blade sect is a Heavenly Immortal. Let's see if the Heavenly Immortal sect is too weak. For a time, many rumors spread among the peaks, especially among the sects from the primordial universe. Many of them were not on good terms with the Heavenly Immortal sect. Now was the best time to mock them. These rumors soon affected the Marauder sword. His former calm as a powerhouse was slowly distorted by shame and anger. His sharp and cold eyes were now fixed on one person. It was Yi Chen. "You're still making a fool of yourself. Why don't you retreat and let me go? Otherwise, you'll lose your life." In such a tense situation, everyone thought that Yi Chen should stop and keep his life. Although Yi Chen had blocked the Marauder sword, the experts still believed that the Marauder sword was much stronger than Yi Chen. If they fought to the death, Yi Chen would definitely die. However, Yi Chen once again shocked them, or rather, gave them a surprise. Yi Chen's words did not take the longsword seriously at all. In fact, through his behavior, Yi Chen was telling everyone that the group of prodigies were all trash. Soon, all the powerhouses locked their cold gazes on Yi Chen. This time, it was not just the longsword who was humiliated, but everyone else. Longzi's sword exhaled slightly, and then the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Suddenly, his eyes bulged out like a demon's. At this moment, he no longer endured, but completely released his power. He no longer cared about his face. He didn't care about the level of the opponent's realm, and he didn't care about the opponent's background. Killing the opponent was his only thought. Very good, very good. The Longzi sword let out a sinister laugh. The long sword in his hand soared through the 9 heavens and transformed into the shape of a ferocious beast. It broke through the clouds and returned to his hand. This was none other than his divine weapon, the Longzi sword. "Marauder sword, don't let us down. He's just a brat from the chaotic universe. Don't let him succeed. He has no idea what kind of group he has provoked. The cultivators of every universe here are far above him." Indeed, all the powerhouses stopped mocking the Longzi sword because they realized that mocking the Longzi sword was equivalent to mocking themselves. Yi Chen's words had crossed their bottom line. Before them, Yi Chen was their common enemy. Kill him. Finally, those people no longer cared about their face and directly shouted that they wanted to kill Yi Chen. Ha 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 ha. Faced with the full power of the powerhouses, Yi Chen sneered. Then, he looked at the Longzi sword and made a provocative gesture. "Brat, you'll pay with your life for your actions. You'll be trampled under my feet and groaned in pain. Is that so? I hope so. Give me some pressure so that I'll have the motivation to move forward. Unfortunately, it's impossible with just you. Kill." The Longzi sword's eyes emitted a blood-red light and directly evolved a sword chi, striking first. Faced with the blood-red sword chi, Yi Chen's body was covered in black and gold glaze. He was completely fearless. Clang! The sword chi bombarded Yi Chen's body like a dragonfly skimming the water. There was no ripple. Clang, clang, clang. In the blink of an eye, the sword chi attacked again. It was like thousands of swords attacking at the same time. There was no way to dodge. Such sword power was really shocking. However, in front of Yi Chen's indestructible body, there was only a halberd sinking into the sand. With his eyes wide open, the Longzi sword looked at the indestructible body in front of him that was flickering with black and gold light. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Suddenly, the Longzi sword stopped and then led the sword chi to soar into the sky. Above the 9 heavens, there was starlight shining down. Together with the sword chi, the power of the stars was activated, condensing a super-strong astral soul. Rumble! Heaven and earth shook and the world shook. A super-strong astral sword shadow appeared behind the Longzi sword. It was the unique secret technique, Astral Soul Sword Shadow. Then, within this astral soul, there was a super-strong penetrating power. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. White lightning constantly wrapped around the blade of the Longzi sword. In an extremely small space, the most powerful energy burst out, which was the source of the super-strong penetrating power. Seeing the light of the astral soul continuously added to the Longzi sword, Yi Chen's eyes were slightly cold, and his expression was serious. Interesting. With a simple comment, Yi Chen's body shook, and he stood in a horse stance, facing the Longzi sword. Huh? You're too arrogant. You're courting death. Ha, kill me first if you can. During this period, Yi Chen had absorbed too much opportunity energy, and his two-star ancient god power had reached the peak. With the help of the memory fragments in the heaven space, Yi Chen was going to develop the ultimate secret of the two-star ancient god body. Since you want to die so much, I'll fulfill your wish. The Longzi sword's body was surrounded by blood-red sword chi, and the sword spirit behind him had completely merged with the sword. At this moment, the man and the sword became one, and it was the strongest attack. Facing such a powerful sword, Yi Chen smiled coldly, not caring at all. He opened his arms, waiting for the opponent's attack to come. This kid must be crazy. Everyone thought that Yi Chen had lost his mind, and that he knew that he could not escape, so he decided to go all out. Kill. The Longzi sword flew up, turned into a sword chi, and instantly stabbed in front of Yi Chen. Swoosh. However, there was a sound of stabbing, and blood flowed from the wound, staining the ground. Chapter 2245. Seeing the blade piercing Yi Chen's muscles, all the powerhouses cheered. That's right. He should have done this a long time ago. How dare a piece of trash from the chaotic universe act so arrogantly in front of all the powerhouses of the universe? Using such power to kill this person, the Longzi sword is just SOSO. Ha ha ha, it's finally done. We can continue looking for treasures. Not only did the powerhouses mock Yi Chen, but they also mocked the Longzi sword. Just as everyone was about to look for treasures again, they saw the Longzi sword's figure suddenly stand still as if he was frozen. This situation was not simple. Everyone frowned and looked at the battlefield again. You. The Longzi sword said fiercely. The muscles on his arm were bulging, constantly gathering power, but not only did he not withdraw the blade, but it also continued to move forward toward Yi Chen's body. This was definitely not his intention, but the blade could not escape the control of a force and continued to move forward on its own. Ha 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 ha. Yi Chen let out a maniacal laugh. There was a strange and excited expression on his face, as if he had entered a state where his mind was super resistant to being sealed. Clang, clang, clang. The muscles on his abdomen continued to condense like a dragon, entangling the Longzi sword's blade. The super muscle strength forced the blade to move toward his body. That's right, this was not the Longzi sword's intention, but Yi Chen's own control. At this moment, everyone's spirit was instantly shocked. They seemed to have seen a super crazy action, a super madman in front of them. Before this, they had seen too many strange scenes, but this was the first time all the geniuses had seen something like this. They did not know what had happened. The script should have been the Longzi sword assassinating Yi Chen, but the strange scene in front of them was telling them that things were not that simple. Longzi sword, what are you waiting for? Cut this kid in half. A powerhouse shouted angrily. He did not want the Longzi sword to waste time. This was a kind of delay to the entire group of geniuses, a kind of humiliation. However, the Longzi sword also wanted to pull out his divine weapon, but he could not do it. B****. The power of the Longzi sword's body erupted. At this moment, he wanted to completely break through his limit. He wanted to give up all his dignity and use all his strength to kill the opponent in front of him. Whether he was willing to admit it or not, the person in front of him was the strongest opponent he had ever faced in his life. Prodigal sword, why don't you just tell us what's bothering you? Why don't you just tell those idiots that you can't pull out the divine weapon? You can't twist it around and you can't kill me? Speak. You! The Longzi sword was humiliated like this, but he couldn't refute it. He couldn't even resist. Was this person really a true immortal from the chaotic universe? Was he really a cultivator from some low-level universe? Why did he feel that Yi Chen's strength was above his? This was the first time he had felt this way. A true immortal's strength was above a peak heavenly immortal like him. Impossible, I don't believe it. The Marauder's sword was also going crazy. He directly sacrificed his own blood, grabbing the edge of his sword. At this moment, the power of his sword's soul erupted. He was finally showing his true power to everyone. Zzz. The shape of the sword's soul appeared behind the marauder's sword once again. The vast power of the star soul was constantly injected into the marauder's sword's body. He didn't care about his endurance. He wanted to absorb the infinite power of the stars and kill Yi Chen. Clang, clang, clang. Yi Chen's muscles twisted and turned rapidly. The marauder's sword's blade was once again devoured. As the power gradually increased, the marauder's sword felt that his divine weapon was about to be completely devoured by Yi Chen. Don't even think about it. The Longzi sword roared, and all the power of the star soul was completely infused into the blade. The natal divine weapon, together with its master's blood, enhanced the power of the sword's soul. This sword could easily kill a fairy immortal. Even the supreme geniuses of the other universes were shocked when they felt the power of this sword. The marauder sword's strength was absolutely not a problem. Even among all the powerhouses in the universe, he was in existence above average. This sword was unstoppable. Everyone's emotions were stirred up by the marauder sword. Many powerhouses cheered for the marauder sword. They wanted to defeat Yi Chen, this evil force. Since he could not enter the eyes of others, he would make them fear, and make them kneel at his feet. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Countless dark matter burst out from Yi Chen's body and covered the divine weapon. The three powerful forces that were about to burst out were now entangled by the sky snake and suppressed by the black tortoise. Roar! Accompanied by a crazy roar, the sky snake and the black tortoise appeared behind Yi Chen. Feeling this power, the marauder sword's eyes dimmed. He revealed a look of pain, unwillingness, and even fear. He felt that his life-divine weapon rushed toward Yi Chen's body uncontrollably. Finally, it disappeared in front of Yi Chen's body. My arm! What followed was an even more terrifying scene. Because the marauder sword did not give up his divine weapon, his arm was devoured by Yi Chen's body. The black gold glaze's strong corrosion instantly made the marauder's sword feel unbearable pain. Now tell me, why did the high and mighty marauder's sword become a lamb waiting to be slaughtered? The demon's eye bloomed between Yi Chen's eyebrows. The nether divine power covered the sky, and a grand shadow covered the entire sky. The marauder's sword was completely subdued. His spirit was completely suppressed and conquered by Yi Chen. He could no longer fight against the heavenly emperor in front of him. Whether it was physically or mentally, he was completely crushed. Clang! The marauder's sword knelt on the ground like a walking corpse that had lost its soul. Ah! All the powerhouses were stunned. They saw the genius cultivator of the primordial universe, the heavenly immortal sect, the marauder's sword kneeling at the feet of a true immortal whose cultivation was far inferior to his. At this moment, everyone's worldview was shaken. Yi Chen, the person they disdained to face, was the peak that they could not surpass. I've lost. So arrogant? Senior Yi Chen, I've lost. I can't be compared to you at all. I'm an idiot. Ah! Yi Chen's laughter was like a piercing spear, constantly piercing the hearts of everyone. It was time for the arrogant geniuses to witness a true genius. Kacha, kacha, kacha. At this moment, the marauder's sword heard the sound of steel twisting and breaking. His body became incomparably painful because this was caused by the same origin of his body. My divine weapon. That's right, it has become nourishment for the heavenly emperor's sword. Panga Godhead 2-star Ancient God Ultimate Ultimacy, Heavenly Furnace. Chapter 2246. Smelting a divine weapon? Hearing this, the combatants fell into a state of shock. One had to know that the Longzi sword's divine weapon was a life-divine weapon. No one knew how tough it was. Yet, Yi Chen had forcefully smelted it with his own body. No one could accept such a shocking explanation. The Longzi sword's failure and Yi Chen's supreme divine ability made the combatants realize that although this person was from the chaotic universe, he was not on the same level as an ordinary person from the chaotic universe. Ha ha ha, see that? This person is from the chaotic universe. Now you know that the chaotic universe is a lowly universe. Our universe can produce a super genius like Yi Chen. Yi Chen's defeat of the Longzi sword made Shamido excited. He kept shouting at the combatants, happier than if he had won himself. As a genius of the Buddha realm, Shamido had the cultivation of a heavenly immortal. However, seeing Yi Chen's strength, he knew that the person before him was the strongest combatant in the chaotic universe. The combatants were speechless. They had seen Yi Chen's divine ability with their own eyes. Such strength was enough to earn everyone's respect. However, with the defeat of the longsword, all the powerhouses felt extremely humiliated. The genius of the Sky Immortal sect had suffered a crushing defeat at the hands of Yi Chen. Did this not mean that those forces or geniuses who were inferior to the Sky Immortal sect and the longsword were inferior to Yi Chen? Many prodigies looked at Yi Chen coldly. Although they did not have the courage to fight him head-on, they already wanted to kill Yi Chen. Understand your weakness. That's the biggest lesson I'll teach you. Graham. Yes. The Longzi sword had lost the treasure hunt, his divine weapon, and his dignity. All he managed to do was keep his life. The combatants looked at him mockingly. He's trying his best to stay alive. He doesn't care about the goddess sect's reputation at all. He knelt before a person from the chaotic universe and admitted his defeat. What's the point of living? The goddess sect will never let such a traitor go. Forget it. We'll just look for treasures. The combatants no longer paid attention to the Longzi sword and turned to look for treasures. Yi Chen put away the black tortoise Dharma form. The Longzi sword's divine weapon power in the heavenly emperor's sword was completely infused. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. As the powerful divine weapon light bloomed, the heavenly emperor's sword's quality rose again. So. Boundless sword chi was automatically released from the celestial Dharch sword and spread out in all directions. This naturally released sword chi already possessed the power to kill a perfected immortal. It was evident how powerful the Marauder sword was as a divine weapon. Ha ha, Yi Chen, you've really made the cultivators of the chaotic universe proud. Shami Tua flew over and said with a smile. Don't follow me. Yi Chen responded coldly. Subsequently, he headed in the direction where he had sensed the treasure earlier. Ha! Although you're a bit aloof and arrogant, you really are a genius of our chaosverse. I, Shamitra, acknowledge you. I don't need anyone's approval. Heaven's Road, Dugu Xing. Such boldness. Shama Tua had a look of admiration on his face when he saw Yi Chen enter the peak alone. On the mountain path, Yi Chen could feel the divine weapon chi even more clearly. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Suddenly, numerous inexplicable bolts of lightning appeared in the forest ahead. When these bolts of lightning struck down from the sky, they automatically formed various indistinct patterns. Yi Chen looked at the patterns coldly and walked toward the place with the most patterns. That is, seeing the lightning descending from these flashing patterns, the powerhouses were shocked. Such a phenomenon, it's really the descent of a divine weapon. A divine weapon? No way. Could it be an existence that surpasses a supreme-grade immortal weapon? I heard that above immortal weapons is a divine weapon. It's a divine weapon that only the heavenly realm can obtain. It's unparalleled. When this phenomenon was discovered by the crowd, many powerhouses stared at Yi Chen because the appearance of a divine weapon was too shocking. This was an existence that was even more powerful than a supreme-grade immortal weapon. Everyone wanted to obtain it. As a result, the powerhouses of the universe surged toward Yi Chen. In the land of the phenomenon, the closer Yi Chen got, the more familiar the energy became. A divine weapon. Yi Chen also heard the crowd's discussion. His heart unconsciously connected with the memories in the heaven origin space. After all, those memories were necessary to activate the primordial spirit of a heavenly emperor. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Suddenly, powerful lightning appeared above Yi Chen's head. The quality of this lightning was so high that it was not inferior to the true immortal level heavenly tribulation at all. It was obvious that the end of the phenomenon was something extraordinary. 9. Thunder God materialization. In the face of such power, Yi Chen was fearless. He released the Thunder God materialization. Suddenly, the Thunder God appeared and all lightning was repelled. Yana watched as countless lightning bolts bombarded Yi Chen's body. Yi Chen did not care at all. He walked in the divine thunder and enjoyed the various trials of the ancient god body. What is this kid's body made of? It's too scary. The powerhouses who were following behind were all shocked. Yi Chen had just used his body to devour the Longsword's life divine weapon, and now he was personally walking in the heavenly thunder bombardment field, allowing the heavenly thunder to strike him. No one present had ever seen such a powerful physique. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The lightning descended and bombarded Yi Chen's body. Such a baptism was like undergoing tribulation. However, this level of tribulation was child's play to Yi Chen. There was no challenge at all. At this time, the energy density of the divine thunder rose wildly. The power of the divine thunder condensed into forms. These forms were the patterns that Yi Chen had seen in the Divine Thunder Flash 5. Roar! The lightning condensed into the form of a ferocious beast and descended from the sky. Dragon capturing claw, heaven burning palm. In the face of such a ferocious beast, Yi Chen's eyes widened. Divine might, mystical flames, and ancient god might erupted at the same time. The massive dragon capturing claw grabbed one of the lightning beasts. With a swipe of the giant palm, the divine thunder in the sky collapsed and turned into pure thunder god power, which was absorbed by the 9 thunder god materialization. Many powerhouses were amazed by such a remarkable ability. They stopped in their tracks and did not dare to move forward. They were afraid that Yi Chen would feel threatened and attack them. After destroying several lightning beasts, Yi Chen saw the source of the lightning. It was a divine spear floating on a high platform, surrounded by a sea of lightning. The moment he saw the divine spear, 3 words appeared in Yi Chen's mind: dragon capturing spear. The moment the 3 words appeared, Yi Chen's consciousness was instantly pulled away and entered a thunder realm. Yi Chen's brows furrowed as he looked around. He was above the 9 heavens, in the middle of the universe. Chapter 2247. ZZT, ZZT, ZZT. As lightning struck the sky, a person appeared in the air. He wore a purple lightning blue robe, and his red hair floated in the air. Lightning gathered all over his body, making him look like a king. I'm the Thunder Dragon Lord. Are you ready to die by entering my territory? Ha, I don't want to die. My goal is to subdue you. Falsehood. The Thunder Dragon Lord's eyes emitted infinite lightning as he shouted falsehood. He turned into 2 powerful spear gleams and charged at Yi Chen. The lightning was faster than the blink of an eye. Yi Chen wanted to defend himself, but he felt that his body was already injured. Impossible. Yi Chen frowned and was shocked. His speed was unparalleled, and he had ancient god power and nether divine power to protect himself. It was impossible for him to be hit directly. What was going on? Just as he was hesitating, the Thunder Dragon Lord flew up to the heavens. The dragon restraining spear appeared in his hand. Everlasting Thunder Dragon, Lightning Strike. Dragon Energy Shield. Yi Chen activated his ancient god power in a hurry and created the Dragon Energy Shield. ZZT, ZZT, ZZT. Boom, boom, boom. The dragon restraining spear broke through the Dragon Energy Shield and went straight at Yi Chen's chest. It was the first time Yi Chen was so nervous. He used his divine consciousness to protect himself with the Heavenly Emperor's sword. After the upgrade, The Heavenly Emperor's sword already possessed the power of a supreme-grade immortal weapon. Yi Chen had absolute confidence in it. ZZT, ZZT, ZZT. Lightning flashed again as the Heavenly Emperor's sword faced the dragon restraining spear. Suddenly, the divine weapon burst into flames, shattering mountains and rivers. The incomparable power shattered the entire consciousness space. Yi Chen returned to reality. Yi Chen looked at his body and realized that there was a scorching lightning wound on his body. He had been hit in the consciousness space. Very good. Such a divine weapon surpassed a peak immortal weapon. Yi Chen was determined to get it. Dong, dong, dong. Yi Chen charged forward. Golden lotuses appeared with each step. The powerhouses behind him followed him when they saw him, wanting to fight for the dragon restraining spear. However, when they touched the golden lotuses left by Yi Chen's footprints, they instantly entered the Heavenly Spirit Buddha's epiphyllum exorcism formation. What's this? Within the Dutchman's night flower array formation, everyone saw the 28 guardian Vajra appear at the same time, stopping everyone in their tracks. There are no evil spirits in the Dutchman's cloud flower formation. Guardian Vajra, Heavenly Spirit Buddha's decree. Annihilation Bodhi, exorcise demons and protect lives. 28 guardian Vajra appeared in the great formation. Suddenly, the Buddha's light shone brightly, and white rainbows rose in all directions. The Heavenly Spirit appeared here, and the sun and moon converged within. Damn it! Damn it! All the cultivators revealed ferocious expressions. They were all heaven's favorites from powerful forces in the various universes. How could they be restrained by this array? Let's break the formation together and chase after Yi Chen. Alright. All the experts joined forces, wanting to break the epiphyllum demon-conquering formation. On the peak, Yi Chen soared into the sky while stepping on a lotus. He headed straight to where the dragon restraint spear was. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Sensing that Yi Chen was running, the dragon restraining spear's surroundings flickered with electricity. It suddenly soared into the sky and hovered high in the sky. Incomer, halt. Otherwise, heavenly lightning will strike your head and blood will splash 5 steps away. Ha ha ha, Thunder Dragon Lord, do you dare to show yourself? Yi Chen shouted at the dragon restraining spear. Around them, many powerhouses who did not enter the epiphyllum demon-conquering formation were puzzled when they heard Yi Chen's word. Who was this Thunder Dragon Lord? Had Yi Chen already fought with the divine spear? They only saw Yi Chen stop on the road ahead and pondered. They did not know that Yi Chen had already met the Thunder Dragon Lord in the strange realm. Do you have the right? In the face of Yi Chen's provocation, the dragon restraining spear's entire body flashed. The majestic power of divine lightning descended from the sky and killed Yi Chen. 9 Thunder God. This time Yi Chen was prepared. Before the divine spear attacked, Yi Chen activated the Thunder God avatar. However, the Thunder God avatar was hidden in the invisibility formation that Yi Chen had designed, so the Thunder Dragon Lord did not notice it. The Thunder Dragon Lord used the same trick this time. He wanted to use a strange divine power to make Yi Chen unable to defend himself. However, the red man behind Yi Chen had 9 Thunder God avatars appear. The majestic might of the heavenly Tao instantly counteracted the invisible lightning. Boom, boom, boom. In front of Yi Chen, above the Thunder God avatar, there were continuous rumbling explosions. It was the invisible attack that had touched the Thunder God avatar. However, the Thunder God avatar was formed by the heavenly Tao and had been subdued by Yi Chen, so it was naturally immune to divine lightning attacks. Therefore, no matter how powerful the invisible divine lightning attack was, it could not break through the Thunder God avatar's defense. The Thunder Dragon Lord clearly did not expect Yi Chen's adaptability to be so strong. It was only a battle in the consciousness realm, but he had already gained the ability to deal with this invisible attack. He was a genius indeed. Very well, being able to sense my existence means that you have some ability. However, no one can survive before me. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The dragon restraining spear once again displayed its divine power, attracting infinite divine lightning together, forming an extreme bolt of lightning that rushed toward the 9 thunder gods. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The 9 thunder gods sensed the powerful destructive power of this bolt of lightning. They put their palms together and activated the seal, activating their strongest defense. It's useless. The Thunder Dragon Lord sneered. The extreme bolt of lightning rushed toward the 9 thunder gods. The Thunder God Avatar used both palms to resist this bolt of lightning. However, the moment the two sides came into contact, the 9 Thunder God Avatar's palms instantly shattered without any warning. What? This invisible, tangible, mysterious destructive power could destroy the 9 Thunder God Avatar that was the symbol of the heavenly Tao. The power of the divine weapon before Yi Chen once again changed his view of the world. Very good, very good. Yi Chen was extremely excited. He released the darkness pool. The vast darkness pool surged with dark matter, quickly covering the Thunder God Avatar. Following that, the Thunder God's palms that were destroyed by the Thunder Dragon Lord recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. Finally, the Dark Thunder God's arms were as good as new. That's surprising. The Thunder Dragon Lord let out a mocking laugh. The dragon restraining spear spun in the sky and split into 3. 3-phase variation. Thunder Dragon Everlasting. Heavenly Human Tribulations. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Instantly, 3 extremely destructive bolts of lightning began to gather. Ha! Just in time. A pair of divine demon wings appeared behind Yi Chen's back. Immediately, the power of yin and yang circulated, and the might of the divine demon spread out. 9 Skanda Spirit, Emperor Brush. The Emperor Brush flashed with the light of the Emperor and appeared in Yi Chen's hand. Immediately, various divine characters floated around Yi Chen, waiting for his orders. Emperor Brush, suppress, seal, imprison. Yi Chen released the 3 powers of the Emperor Brush at once. He wanted to weaken the opponent's attack as much as possible because the opponent before him made Yi Chen feel pressure that he had never felt before. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The Emperor Brush flashed with divine light. Instantly, the 3 dragon spears were restricted and the lightning began to weaken.